You're in Konoha, and you call these ninja tools? This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 501 Tianyu's Age Issue. Yes, that's right, Lin, you should get treatment quickly. Originally, Minato Namikaze wanted to refuse this duel with Tianyu. After all, he had seen Tianyu's fighting power. But he thought again, no matter how powerful a person's talent is, he should not be proficient in all systems, right? He can always find Tianyu's weakness in one system, right? Thinking of this, Minato Namikaze couldn't help but be alert, and even smiled. How could Tianyu not know what Minato Namikaze was thinking, so he could only smile? Minato Namikaze's fighting power is actually very impressive. He was able to see where Minato Namikaze was just now. That was entirely because he also knew Flying Thunder God. He was able to find Minato Namikaze because he used the convenience of Flying Thunder God. Otherwise, he could only continue to open the door and then flatten the entire forest. Lin was still a little dazed at this time, and couldn't believe what she saw. After all, she has always been proud of worshipping the best teacher in the entire ninja academy. Who knew that because of these things, he actually saw a teacher who was more powerful than his master? And this teacher was also very young and handsome. Thinking of this, Nahorin's face couldn't help but turn red. If Ibito knew about this, I wonder if he would want to awaken a Mangekyo directly. Finally, after a long time, Nahorin finally healed Minato Namikaze's wound. Originally, he also had a healing stone, but when he thought that if he took out such a perverted thing, Minato Namikaze would not dare to compete with him. So he didn't show his financial resources, and quietly watched Minato Namikaze recover his fighting power. Finally, after Minato Namikaze recovered his fighting power, Tianyu suppressed all his physical skills. Let's start, this time it's a ninjutsu duel, I hope you can defeat me. Tianyu said, and then disappeared from the spot. This moment made Minato Namikaze couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, because he knew the ninjutsu that Tianyu used just now best. Flying Thunder God, the legendary Forbidden Book of Konoha Village, the only person who has learned it, and only he and the second generation are recorded. I didn't expect that today, in my lifetime, I would see someone who can use Flying Thunder God. How can you use Flying Thunder God? And why do you think it's more authentic than mine? Namikaze Minato couldn't believe it. The speed that Tianyu used now was just running casually. As long as there is a mark, you can appear in that place with just a thought. But it's different for me. I still need to throw a kunai and then gather power. It's just because the gathered power looks faster that people think he has no gaps in his skills. But only I know this. Tianyu's Flying Thunder God is much faster than his. Haha, it seems that you can see it too. Senior Tobirama taught me step by step. I didn't find that the original record of Flying Thunder God had so many loopholes. Tianyu didn't hide this matter. After all, if he didn't say it, maybe the fact that he can use Flying Thunder God so authentically will become more fantastic, right? Everyone's eyes widened, not daring to believe what Tianyu had just said. Do you really know the second generation? Namikaze Minato still couldn't believe what Tianyu said, and said with a little doubt. Tianyu didn't say anything. If he continued, these people would question his age. So don't say too much, otherwise you can't explain the matter yourself. Okay, let's start, but there's still a fight, let's not waste time. Then Tianyu disappeared again, hiding in the darkness. Although Namikaze Minato was also very confused at this time, he wanted Tianyu to explain it to him. Unfortunately, seeing that Tianyu didn't want to say more about these things, he didn't say anything more and disappeared directly. After the two disappeared, everyone stared at the venue with big eyes. From time to time, a ray of fire appeared, and then disappeared. What is the purpose of our coming here? Ibito looked at the competition venue very helplessly, and was also very helpless about this competition. After all, there was still a person on the field just now, but now, apart from the sparks of kunai colliding, there seems to be nothing to see. If it weren't for the fact that this was not a duel for which tickets were sold, Ibito might have shouted for a refund now, right? Is the master really that powerful? At this time, Kuraiyu was also in shock. After all, it was a very common thing for Tianyu to have defeated his father. In the village, There were also a few young people who could defeat their fathers. Not to mention this legendary golden flash, it was simply a legendary existence. I didn't expect that I had been defeated by Tianyu once today. Not to mention whether Tianyu could win this ninjutsu duel. Even if he lost, everyone present would not look down on Tianyu. Because as long as Tianyu showed all his skills, it would have proved that Minato Namikaze could not beat Tianyu. Originally, after he became his disciple, Tianyu had always been very angry about Tianyu being his master. But now, for some reason, in Tianyu's heart, he was completely proud. I wish I could stand up and shout right now, "This is my master." Even Might Guy looked at Tianyu with obsession, as if he wanted to eat Tianyu. At this time, Tianyu must have believed that if he was a woman, or if Might Guy was a woman, Might Guy would stand up without hesitation and pledge his love to her. Even Kakashi stared at the sparks that popped up from time to time on the field, and he didn't know what he was thinking in his mind. Just when everyone was thinking about other things seriously, Minato Namikaze was a little bit bitter. At this time, he was crying out to the sky, but it didn't work, and there was no chance for him to react at all. If this was on the battlefield, he might have turned around and left without hesitation. This is simply an enemy that cannot be defeated. How could he be defeated? After so many fights, Minato Namikaze finally knew what a fortress is. He couldn't find any weakness in Tianyu at all. After these few fights, his body is now covered with wounds. Chapter 502, The Decadence of Genius. It seems that we have to use the last resort. Although Minato Namikaze was a little reluctant, he still stood up and looked forward with a firm gaze. Now the only thing that can determine the winner may be the understanding of the two people on Flying Thunder God. Only whoever understands Flying Thunder God better may win this duel. There's only one chance. I must seize the opportunity. Minato Namikaze looked at the kunai in his hand, his eyes full of hesitation. This was the trump card he left on Tianyu just now, and he didn't expect that he would use it so soon. Haha, brother Minato, you see that our fighting power is evenly matched. How about this? How about we two use the strongest ninjutsu directly and decide the winner? Tianyu didn't know when he had appeared in the center of the battlefield. This is undoubtedly a strong confidence in his own strength, and he looked down on Minato Namikaze's fighting power. Otherwise, in such a tense duel, no one would be stupid enough to come up and die. Okay, then let's do it right away, and don't let the boys wait anxiously. Minato Namikaze was naturally very angry about Tianyu's behavior, but he compromised. Tianyu also smiled and didn't do anything. He just looked at the hiding place of Minato Namikaze. At this moment, Minato Namikaze instantly appeared in front of Tianyu, and the Rasengan was about to reach Tianyu's face. Oh. Tianyu also looked at Minato Namikaze with interest. Why didn't he notice that Minato Namikaze left a mark on his body? Suddenly Tianyu looked at the kunai in his hand. That's it. Tianyu threw the kunai in his hand directly, and then the whole person instantly appeared behind Minato Namikaze, wanting to kill Minato Namikaze with one blow. Who knew that at this time, Minato Namikaze actually showed a smile on his face. Flying Thunder God second stage. As soon as Minato Namikaze finished speaking, he appeared above Tianyu's head. The Rasengan in his hand became even bigger, ready to end the battle directly. Wind escape, Rasenshuriken. Tianyu didn't intend to hide his weakness anymore. If he continued like this, Minato Namikaze might succeed. Let's have a good fight. Then Tianyu took advantage of the fact that Minato Namikaze's body was in the air and had no time to adjust, and directly smashed the Rasenshuriken on Minato Namikaze's body. Tianyu naturally knew the attack and lethality of this ninjutsu, and then when he came into contact with Minato Namikaze, he directly cancelled the ninjutsu. All the chakra quickly dissipated, and Minato Namikaze was only slightly injured. Haha, I really learned a lesson. Tianyu really won by a narrow margin. Tianyu looked at Minato Namikaze lying on the ground, took a step back, and bowed slowly. Minato Namikaze's face became very bad, and he didn't know whether he should say anything in return. But it seems that he didn't have any effective attack throughout the whole process. Except for the accident of the second stage of Flying Thunder God just now, it seems that he doesn't even have the hope of attacking Tianyu. Thinking of this, Minato Namikaze, who was a little arrogant, lay on the ground like a salted fish. Mr. Tianyu really said it. Minato admits defeat. When Minato Namikaze's team saw that the teacher had already admitted defeat, Everyone widened their eyes. Even Yuhi Kurenai couldn't believe her ears. Although they saw that the teacher defeated Minato Namikaze, it was not an easy thing to make a genius admit defeat. Not only that, looking at the way Minato Namikaze was lying on the ground, it seemed that he had no intention of competing in the next game. Why, brother Minato, you are lying here, and our next game will be delayed. Tianyu looked at Minato Namikaze with a smile, and subconsciously wanted Lin to treat Minato. Who knew that this time he was directly rejected by Minato Namikaze? Wait a minute, I'm convinced. I don't need it. Who wants to compete with you, a pervert, in the future? Minato Namikaze stood up by himself, without giving Tianyu any chance to speak, and went back to the carriage. After all, in these two duels, Minato Namikaze finally saw a rule. That is, in physical skills, although Tianyu's fighting power is strong, it is not unsolvable. So Minato Namikaze felt that there was still hope for the next game. But in the second game, Tianyu brought him a basically flawless, even omnipotent monster. That is to say, this time Tianyu is obviously much stronger than the previous Tianyu. In other words, the 3 duels listed by Tianyu are actually ranked according to his own strength. In other words, the last ninja tool drinking competition will be his most embarrassing duel. Although he still has a heart that refuses to admit defeat, he still doesn't want to do something that asks for trouble. When Tianyu heard this, he could only smile helplessly. He originally wanted to give Minato Namikaze a chance. After all, his ninja tools are basically used to kill people, and it is difficult to have a fighting function. Even if there is, the fighting power is not too strong. So Tianyu thinks that Minato Namikaze's chance of winning against him this time is pretty good. Who knew that Minato Namikaze actually refused this duel? Really? Minato teacher actually admitted defeat. How is this possible? Obito simply couldn't believe everything he had experienced today. Originally, he saw a person who was highly regarded by Kakashi, and then was slapped in the face by his teacher. This might be the greatest happiness he wanted today. Who knew that the first duel ended with a narrow victory by Tianyu, and the second duel was even more thrilling when he was defeated by Tianyu. Originally, Obito still had a little hope in his heart. Who knew that when Tianyu just proposed the third duel, Minato teacher actually refused the game directly? Why, isn't Minato teacher the strongest person of our generation? Why is there a teacher who is more talented than Minato teacher? This is something Obito couldn't accept. After all, Obito is also a famous Uchiha, otherwise he would not be Minato's apprentice together with Kakashi. As for Lin, it was completely because of her relationship with the two people, so she was directly arranged into this team in the case of making up the numbers. Although his talent was not very good, he had such a powerful teacher. As long as he didn't cause any big trouble, his future, with the blessing of the Sharingan, would become an elite Jonin in the future. Chapter 503 Awakening of the Sharingan. Who knew that things would change so quickly? Before the last match began, Minato Namikaze had already given up the fight. Doesn't this prove that Kakashi's vision was correct, and even Might Guy, a waste, had no problem choosing him? Maybe the only clown on the field now is Obito. Now everyone on the field is looking at Tengo with great respect, and they know it without thinking. Tengo has long been the hope of everyone in the audience. But Obito, who looks down on Tengo, is a little mentally ill. Impossible, absolutely impossible. At this time, Obito's eyes have turned blood red, and he clenched his fists tightly. Because of his nails, his palms have been bleeding. Needless to say, what's more hateful is that Obito's eyes have begun to change. At this time, a standard 3 Magatama appeared on Obito's eyeball. Because everyone present was paying attention to Tengo, no one looked at Obito at all. But now the only person who noticed Obito might be Tengo, who is now resented by Obito. Tianyu didn't notice Obito at first. Who knew she suddenly felt a very familiar resentment? Isn't this the resentment generated when the Sharingan opens? Except for Uchiha Obito, it seems that no one present has the ability to open his eyes. So Tianyu didn't look in Obito's direction, but used the scout mouse to give Tianyu the image of Obito. Interesting, I didn't expect the speed of opening his eyes this time. But it seems that because of me, Obito's mentality seems to have changed. Tianyu looked at Obito's image with interest. After all, normally speaking, Obito knew that in the end, the source of all evil was on Lin. Now that Lin is not dead, Obito is already full of resentment. This means that because of his own stimulation, Obito's thoughts on Lin are getting stronger and stronger. Even if they are not here now, Obito may pounce on Lin at the first time. And because Obito awakened the Sharingan at this time, his originally manic heart suddenly stabilized. Because of his eyes, Obito's brain is now unusually calm, even a little too calm. So he quickly hid his blood-red eyes, fearing that others would know that he had awakened his eyes. And he also looked at Tianyu's back. Wait, you will all pay the price for what you did today. Just like that, Tianyu was caused by a fight that started, which led to a series of disturbances by Obito. But Tianyu naturally wouldn't care about these things. After all, he is just a small waste. After awakening his ability, he is just a waste with awakened ability. For Tianyu, as long as there is no threat, he is just an ordinary ant. Since Brother Minato doesn't want to compete anymore, let's get on the carriage and move on. Tianyu didn't force it anymore and came directly to the carriage. The others also reacted from the shock. Lin came directly to Minato Namikaze and took out a bundle of bandages. Teacher, please wait a moment, I will show you that the wound on your body has been healed first. Although Minato Namikaze was also very helpless, he also knew that this matter could not be rushed. So he could only nod helplessly, and then sat on the ground, letting Lin do whatever she wanted. Soon, Nahor Lin had bandaged all of Minato Namikaze's wounds. At this time, Might Guy had already come to the back of the carriage, ready to continue training. As for Kakashi, after hesitating for a while, he still walked out of the carriage. But this time Kakashi did not drag it again, but directly leaned on an iron block. You lead the way in front. After I get used to 100 kilograms, I will start to wear 200 kilograms. Kakashi also chose to put down his pride this time and learned from Might Guy humbly. Might Guy also thought it was nothing, just nodded, and then started the preparatory activities before training. Taking advantage of this time, Might Guy would also tell Kakashi some of his own experiences. And Tianyu smiled at the two people who got along well. The relationship between the two may be because they are each other's targets. So whether it is after adulthood or when they are young, the relationship between the two is very good. Finally, after all the problems on Minato Namikaze's side were solved, he returned to the carriage. Just like that, after many twists and turns, the carriage finally drove on the road again and continued to the destination. Because of the fighting power that Tianyu had just shown, the atmosphere in the carriage was unusually cold. What are you thinking about? It's so hard to come out for a trip, can't you relax? Tianyu said with a smile, and then threw the 3 Magatama eyes in his hand into Zihong's hand. Go on, I hope you can keep holding it without being affected after reaching your destination. Yuhikirni looked at the 3 Magatama eyes in her hand with an unpleasant expression. He said, how could Tianyu be so kind to let Might Guy get off the car alone to contact? It seems that it is because of the different types of training that he has only started training now. Is this what Tianyu meant by going out for a good trip? Yuhikirni's face was very bad, and she could only nod helplessly, and then she closed her eyes holding the 3 Magatama eyes. And everyone in the car looked at Tianyu with a weird look. After all, Tianyu's 2 apprentices are not famous geniuses. One is Yuhikirni, who is felt to be an alien because of an alternative illusion. The other is Might Guy, who can't use ninjutsu at all, and now he has become his apprentice. With Tianyu's strength, he can find a genius boy like Kakashi. Why do you have to look for these burdensome existences? Does Tianyu have any quirks? He just likes to take in some trash or something. Then after some training and teaching, you can finally feel that your heart is very fulfilled? When they thought of this, everyone looked at Tianyu strangely. They didn't expect Tianyu to be such a person. And Tianyu didn't see that everyone's eyes were not right when they looked at him. Even if he knew, he would only laugh disdainfully. If talent can really determine everything, there would not be Might Guy, the strongest physical player in history. Talent is just a rating. Chapter 504 Helping you expand your brain. But this is not a necessary quantitative amount. Just like in the history of Naruto, the 3 most powerful people are Obito, Might Guy and Uzumaki Naruto. Which of these people did not show that they were not very talented in the early stage? Don't be confused by the surface of things, otherwise you will lose everything. Mr. Tianyu, I don't know who you are and why you have so many things. Along the way, Minato Namikaze hesitated for a long time, but saw that Tianyu closed his eyes most of the time. Only after Kiryu threw away the strange sphere in his hand, he would reluctantly open his eyes. After taking a look at Kiryu, he gave an opinion, and then continued to close his eyes and sleep. Now Minato Namikaze finally found an opportunity, So he asked hurriedly. Me. Are you also curious about why I know the branch ninjutsu of Rasengan? Tianyu smiled, and he didn't even need to think about it, he already knew what this guy wanted to ask. After all, Rasengan was a ninjutsu created by Minato Namikaze himself, and now it was modified and used by him. Minato was still quite curious. Brother Minato, you also know that there are still many secrets in this world. Don't make the wrong decision because of some small things, but I admire you very much. Your family is very obsessed with Naruto. Although Tianyu did not explain the truth of the matter, Minato Namikaze still heard something. Our family? After all, there are only 2 people in their family now. Although she and Kushina are ready to have children, Kushina is not good at fighting. Tianyu did not say it clearly, but just smiled and then closed his eyes. Minato Namikaze was not in such a good mood. He thought he would know the truth of the matter, but who knew that after asking? Not only did the truth disappear, but it became more and more confusing. Bang! At this time, Yuhi Kurenai's hand suddenly loosened, and she threw the 3 Magatama eyes in her hand to the ground again. Now Yuhi Kurenai has made great progress. Now Yuhi Kurenai can hold the 3 Magatama eyes in the palm of her hand for several hours without feeling anything. But for some reason, every time the 5th hour comes, the hand will uncontrollably release the 3 Magatama eyes. Teacher, I know, give me your hand, I'll show you. Tianyu interrupted Zirihong's words directly, because Tianyu had already felt her situation. Even if Zirihong didn't say it now, Tianyu was going to see what was going on. Oh. Zirihong stretched out her hand a little aggrieved and placed it in front of Tianyu. And Tianyu just picked up his hand and then put it down. Well, when we have a break, you and I will go out for a while. It seems that it's time to help you expand your brain. When Tianyu said this, Zirihong was not convinced. After all, this lady is very smart, okay? He actually said that he wanted to expand my brain. Does this lady look so stupid? That teacher, I don't seem to be too stupid, do I need to expand my brain? Zirihong finally couldn't help but wanted to refuse Tianyu's words, but was glared back by Tianyu. Really, if you want to use your brain, just use your brain. Why are you so fierce? Zirihong couldn't help but mutter, and then she didn't say anything. After all, she didn't know if Tianyu would get angry and throw her out after she said something. He was really a man who didn't know how to be gentle with women. Such a beautiful girl like her was treated like this. And Namikaze Minato was also very curious and looked at Tianyu. He really wanted to know what Tianyu wanted to do. After all, after getting along with each other for a few days, he suddenly found that Tianyu's actions were basically very reasonable. Although it seemed very unreasonable, it was very effective when the results came out. He wanted to see what method Zirihong used to use his brain. Finally, in the valley not far away, the driver stopped the car directly by the side. My lords, we are going to rest here today. If we go on, I don't know if there is any danger on the road ahead. After the driver finished speaking, he didn't care whether they agreed or not, and lay down on the ground and went to sleep. After all, the terrain here is very abnormal. Besides, it was so dark that they couldn't see the road ahead. If they continued walking, they might be in danger. Tianyu didn't think it was a big deal and pulled Kurenai down. As for Nahorin and Obito, they had already gone out to see if there were any living materials nearby. Since they were going to spend the night, they couldn't just stay in the cold, right? And Namikaze Minato stood not far from Tianyu to see what Tianyu was up to. Kurena, the next thing might be a little painful, so you must bear it. Tianyu said as he took out several 3 Magatama eyes from his pocket. Oh, why do I always feel that what you said is easy to be misunderstood? Kurenai said mischievously at this time, and then sat quietly on the ground, looking at Tianyu quietly. Tianyu could only shake his head helplessly. I hope that after the start, Kurenai can still be as calm as she is now. Then Tianyu put his hand on her head and forcefully infused his mental power into her. Just like that, Yuhi Kurenai's screams never stopped. Is this called a little bit of pain? This is absolutely life-threatening, isn't it? Even Namikaze Minato's original relaxed look disappeared. He put down his arms and looked at Tianyu in surprise. At this time, how could he, who is well-informed, not see what Tianyu was doing now? It turned out that Tianyu was not joking about expanding Yuhi Kurenai's brain. Tianyu really wanted to expand Yuhi Kurenai's mental power like crazy. This is a case that no one in the department has ever succeeded in history, right? When he thought of this, Namake's Minato wanted to step forward to stop it. But he also knew that after this experiment was interrupted, the success rate might be 0. He would be the sinner who harmed Yuhi Kurenai. Hey, it's really nonsense. If you want to make trouble, go ahead. Although Namake's Minato wanted to say something, he also knew that things were not that simple, so he had to give up in the end. He stood nearby and looked at Yuhi Kurenai, who was screaming with a worried look on his face. Chapter 505, The Despised Genius. Now, Tianyu suddenly seemed to feel something, and suddenly threw the 3 Magatama eyes in his hand out. The kaleidoscope eye in the middle was particularly bright, and all the energy of the 3 Magatama eyes was gathering towards him. Because of Tianyu's action, the tingling feeling that Yuhi Kurenai felt in her mind disappeared. There was even a cool feeling all over the brain. Tianyu saw all this and couldn't help but smile. After all, she was only interested in the talents of Yuhi Kurenai's family, and they were a little lacking in ability. As for the biggest defect, it might be the problem of their family's talent. He believed that if Yuhi Kurenai had the talent of Kakashi, there would definitely be another illusion family in the future. And Tianyu wanted to completely change Yuhi Kurenai's talent because of this, and force Yuhi Kurenai to be among the geniuses. Minato-sensei, what happened just now? Might Guy and I heard Kurenai's scream and ran over here. Kakashi ran over from not far away, panting, and his body was already wet with sweat. The two were running slowly along the wheel marks. But Might Guy said that the direction of the carriage in front seemed to be the scream of his junior sister. Then he didn't care whether he could catch up or not, and he sped up directly. Kakashi wanted to blame Might Guy, but after he got closer to the carriage, he finally heard Kurenai's continuous screams. He had no choice but to speed up. It was precisely because of the weight on his body that the two people came at this time. I can't explain it clearly, but Lord Aim-sama seems to have made some crazy oaths, and I dare not say it now. At this time, Minato Namikaze didn't know what to say. After all, looking at Kurenai's current appearance, it seems that nothing happened. But if it is said that nothing happened, the scream just now can prove that Aim-sama did take action just now. Does that mean that Tianyu's method of expanding his spiritual power was successful? If this thing succeeds and is known to the world, Tianyu may become a hot commodity. Finally, under Tianyu's constant maintenance, Zairi Hong finally opened her eyes and looked around in confusion. Tianyu finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Zairi Hong wake up safely. If this guy doesn't wake up, he will have to use extreme means to wake Zairi Hong up. Tianyu also took 2 steps back and wiped the cold sweat on his head. Really, I didn't expect it to consume so much energy. It's really a big delay. Tianyu couldn't help but complain, and then looked at Namikaze Minato, who had been watching not far away. Brother Minato, you also know that this matter is very confidential. So I still don't want this matter to be known by others. If others know it, you know the consequences. Although Tianyu's words were very polite, Namikaze Minato could also hear it. It was obvious that Tianyu was threatening him now. If I reveal this matter, then from now on, there may be no golden flash in this world. Haha, Mr. Tianyu, what kind of flower are you talking about? Don't you know who I am? Namikaze Minato did not doubt that there was any water in Tianyu's words. In yesterday's duel, he had completely cleared the gap between himself and Tianyu. Anyway, he didn't care about these things, and he had a virtuous wife at home. He should not ask for trouble. After Tianyu saw Namikaze Minato's statement, he also relaxed and sat on the ground. The consumption just now was really a bit too much, even Tianyu's chakra was a bit unbearable. He could only put a storage crystal in his mouth, and the next moment Tianyu's chakra was refilled. After everything was done, Yuhi Kurenai was still in a cute state. Kurenai, it's already successful, don't you want to try it? Tianyu smiled, and he was also curious about how powerful Kurenai was now. Hong only reacted after hearing Tianyu's voice, nodded quickly, and pointed in Kakashi's direction. Got it, that's him. Then Hong stood up and threw out several kunai in his hand. Kakashi looked reluctant at this time. When did his status become so low? He was the most talented person of the younger generation, right? Although he was the weakest Jonin, he was still a Jonin. Could it be that they could defeat him so easily? Kakashi, you should also try it and see how strong Hong is. Namikaze Minato saw that Kakashi wanted to refuse, and quickly helped Kakashi agree. After all, he was very clear about Yuhi Kurenai's original strength. As long as he saw the gap in this fight, Namake's Minato might be able to see the difference in Yuhi Kurenai's strength, right? Yes. Kakashi didn't expect that even Minato teacher would help Yuhi Kurenai this time, so he could only agree reluctantly. Then he threw the kunai in front of him at the fastest speed. Then, lightning appeared in his hand. Isn't this the Reikiri ninjutsu Kakashi created by himself? He wanted to kill Kurenai Yuhi as quickly as possible. This kid. Minato Namikaze smiled bitterly. He wanted to see how powerful Kurenai Yuhi was. If Kakashi used his full strength from the beginning, Kurenai Yuhi would not be able to beat Kakashi no matter how much she improved. Be careful, Kakashi said, and he had already come to Kurenai Yuhi at the fastest speed. The Reikiri in his hand was only 2 inches away. Minato Namikaze had already stood up, ready to help at any time. Who knew that he was directly pressed by Tianyu on the shoulder? Wait a minute, why are we going to join in the fight between 2 children? Minato Namikaze wanted to say that your apprentice is in danger, and it will be too late if you don't save him. But when he saw the current situation, he had no choice but to put down his hand helplessly. I hope your guess is correct, otherwise your disciple will be in danger. Namikaze Minato sighed helplessly, then grabbed the kunai, ready to transfer Kakashi over at any time. But at this critical moment, Kakashi's body suddenly stopped in place, and the Reikiri in his hand kept flashing. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 506, Love, Beauty in the Eyes of People. What's going on? Namikaze Minato said quickly, and then observed Kakashi. At this time, Kakashi was obviously trapped by the illusion, and his eyes had lost their light. Haha, it seems that it can be used now. Shianai laughed, and then saw Yuhi Kurenai's eyes looking in Shianayu's direction. This girl, she still wants to try with me. Shianayu smiled bitterly, and then waved his hand, and Yuhi Kurenai's illusions were all broken, and Kakashi also regained consciousness. Because of the recovery of body functions and inertia, Kakashi fell directly to the ground. Yuhi Kurenai quickly closed her eyes, and then restored her original scarlet pupils. Oh? It seems that I have a new gain. Shianayu couldn't help laughing. It seems that Yuhi Kurenai has begun to change. Just when Shianayu was observing Yuhi Kurenai, Kakashi had already climbed up from the ground, looking at Yuhi Kurenai with a red face. Originally, he thought that the other party was just inflated after the increase in strength, so Kakashi didn't use his full strength at all. Who knew that he had fallen into the trap of the enemy without paying attention? Kakashi, I've learned a lesson. If it weren't for my good luck this time, I might not have been able to beat you. I don't know what happened to Yuhi Kurenai, it's as if she inherited the shyness of Tianyu. She came to Kakashi with a smile and said kindly. She was not like the arrogant girl just now. It's nothing. There is no such thing as carelessness on the battlefield. You are very strong. Although Kakashi didn't want to admit it, he still said it. He also wiped the blood on his hand. Because he was not careful just now, Kakashi fell down. As a result, there were many scratches on his body. If it weren't for Kakashi's experience in doing missions, if it was a Obito, he might have screamed now. Hey, what happened to you? Kakashi? Why are you injured? Don't move, I'll treat you. Obito was still quite happy, because when he went out with Lin this time, Lin smiled at him. So Obito was in a good mood along the way, and even started humming a song. Who knew that after Lin came back, she immediately came to Kakashi's side and began to treat Kakashi. What's wrong? Did someone sneak attack just now? Although Obito was very angry now, he still did not lose his mind and calmly asked Minato teacher. Namikaze Minato glanced at Obito and said nonchalantly. Oh, nothing, just a fight with Yuhi Kurenai just now, and Kakashi lost. At this time, Obito's heart began to be active. After all, so much time has passed, and he has never heard of the rumor that Kakashi lost to his peers. Today, he finally saw the invincible Kakashi being defeated, which also made Obito excited. Lin, look, Kakashi is not omnipotent, didn't he lose to a girl? When he said this, Obito had already imagined the scene of Lin looking at Kakashi disappointedly and then mocking Kakashi fiercely. Who knew that at this time, Lin was helping Kakashi bandage his wounds without caring. What's the matter? Who is invincible? It's just a loss. It's okay. Obito was stunned and couldn't believe that this was what Nahorin said. Because Obito always thought that Nahorin liked to get close to Kakashi because of Kakashi's talent. And now Kakashi is no longer the genius who is high above. Now he shouldn't get so close to Kakashi, right? Who knows that Nahorin is still the same as before? Seeing this scene in Shionyu's eyes, he also showed a helpless smile. This may be the tragedy of a dog licker. As the saying goes, love is beautiful in the eyes of others. Even if a person is powerful. But in the eyes of someone who really likes you, you are unique in the world. Even if others think you are the best loser in the world, in the eyes of the person who likes you, you are the best. You guys. Obito wanted to refute, but after thinking about it, he could only squat on the ground and start a fire. And Namikaze Minato also smiled bitterly at Shionyu, and then walked into the carriage. As for Kurenai, she had already gone to find Might Guy nearby to familiarize herself with her power. Anyway, she had such a senior brother, so she would not waste it if she didn't use him. If she had the resources, she must comprehend her power very well, so that she could defeat Shionyu one day. That's right, Kurenai's biggest goal now is to make Shionyu fall at her feet one day. Then she shouted, "Long live the queen!" Haha, ha ha ha. Just like that, Kurenai stood there and laughed foolishly, causing everyone around to look at her with a weird look. Teacher Shionyu, is there something wrong with your brain? Nahorin on the side couldn't bear it anymore and asked subconsciously. But she also remembered that it was impolite to do so, so she quickly covered her mouth and looked at Shionyu with apology. Haha, it's nothing, you don't need to tell me, I have this feeling. Shionyu shook his hand, and then he was very uneasy in his heart. Was it because of his own operational mistakes that Kurenai's mental state was in trouble? If that was really the case, then he would be sorry to Kurenai. People handed the child to him with confidence, but it seemed a little wrong to return a mentally ill person with brain problems. Fortunately, when Shionyu was anxious, Kurenai's laughter stopped. Then he came to my guy's side and continued to contact him. Shionyu was relieved and sat down by the campfire. At this time, Obito's eyes looked at Lin sitting next to Kakashi from time to time, and his heart was in great torment. Just when Shionyu was about to speak to ease the embarrassment, Namikaze Minato suddenly appeared in front of them. At this time, Namikaze Minato was holding 2 gray rabbits in his hands, and it seemed that they had been cleaned up. You haven't eaten fresh food for a long time. I saw that there was nothing wrong, so I caught 2 rabbits. Shionyu smiled after seeing it. Namikaze Minato still understood his students. Knowing that the current situation was very delicate, he quickly used the most versatile food to solve it. Sure enough, when Nahorin saw the new things, she stood up directly and took the rabbits. Chapter 507 Rock Ninja Camp. Shionyu was also sitting a sideboard, watching Lin cooking. For some reason, Shionyu was a little alienated from this skill, and he couldn't learn it no matter how hard he tried. So Shionyu still admired these girls who could cook. Even Obito's eyes were full of love, and he looked at Nahorin who was cooking seriously. Just as Shionyu was watching Nahorin cooking, the information from the scout rat suddenly came to his brain. Under normal circumstances, he had asked the scout rat to cut off the source of information. Unless it was something particularly important, the scout rat would not send him information. Since the information came, it meant that someone was coming. Wait here for a while, I have something to do, and I may be back later. Shionyu stood up and then disappeared from the spot. Namikaze Minato looked at Shionu's back with a strange look on his face. Although he wanted to say something, he had to put down his hand. Anyway, Shionu's strength was there. Even if there was an accident, they couldn't help. They could only pray that Shionyu came back safely. At this time, Shionyu had already arrived at the place where they were stationed 3 kilometers away. At this time, the lights were bright here, but why didn't they see the fire at such a close distance? On the way here just now, Tianyu seemed to be 1 kilometer away when he suddenly found a fire. It seems that they have some way to hide their breath, but who are they? Tianyu is also a little cute. After all, it is already this time, and the only ones who can still raise troops to fight should be the war party. Now the wars in all places have started. It shouldn't be that they deliberately hide their breath to launch a surprise attack, right? Tianyu thought while he had already arrived at the enemy camp in front. At this time, the people in the enemy camp were cooking and eating. Judging from the appearance of everyone, they should have traveled a lot. Everyone's face clearly had a feeling of fatigue, but Tianyu still saw who these guys were from their clothes. Rock ninja? Really an old rival. Tianyu looked at these clothes that were a bit like cassocks with a smile, and couldn't help laughing. At the beginning, he also knew that the death of the third Reikage was besieged by tens of thousands of people. But after all, there is no very accurate record, so he is not very clear who has such courage. He dared to besiege and kill the shadow of the strongest village at that time. It seems that only the brain-sick guys like Iwagakure can do this? Tianyu laughed and then disappeared on the spot. It just so happens that we have already seen the enemy team, so if that's the case, wouldn't it be better for me to sneak in? But as for the little guys I still have to go back and dress up before going in. Then Tianyu appeared in their camp. What's wrong, Lord Tianyu? Why do I feel like you are full of fireworks? Namikaze Minato looked at Tianyu. When Tianyu just appeared beside him, he felt a very strong smell of firewood. This is not something that can be done with a small bonfire like theirs. There must be some gathering place for people that was discovered by Tianyu. That's why Tianyu has this kind of aura on his body. Yes, there is a rock ninja team ahead, they should be going to attack the third Reikage. We don't have to rush for a while, let's sneak in and go with them. Tianyu's words made everyone present widen their eyes. After all, this matter is not as easy as it sounds. After all, if it were other people, it would be easier to say, but it would be a bit difficult for Minato Namikaze and Kakashi. One of the two people's hair is a rare yellow, and the other is a bright white. There are also the names that the two have passed on by word of mouth in the ninja world, which are not easy for them to cover up. Sir Tianyu, although your combat power is very strong, this matter is not as simple as you think. Minato Namikaze was not polite at all on this matter, and hit them directly. After all, this matter concerns their lives, and they must not be underestimated. Haha, I know what you are thinking in your hearts. Well, these are for you. Tianyu smiled helplessly, and then threw a few human skin masks into their hands. This is the disguise mask I made. You guys try it on. If it doesn't work, we'll decide. Although Namikaze Minato took the mask, he still didn't believe what Tengo said. After all, the disguise mask is also a very common item in the Anbu. Although it is somewhat useful, it can only fool some civilians. When it comes to the real battlefield, this thing is just a chicken rib. Oh, what is this thing? How can it be so magical? Just when Namikaze Minato was very tormented in his heart, thinking about what tone to use to reject Tengo, Obito's voice came from not far away. This also diverted Namikaze Minato's attention. He looked at Obito seriously, wanting to see what was going on. Unfortunately, there was no Obito now, only two Kakashis were sitting there. If it weren't for the different clothes, he would have thought that the two were twins. Are you Obito? Although Namikaze Minato didn't dare to believe it, he took a look and found that only one of the Kakashis had the exclusive Uchiha clan emblem on his clothes. He could only look at Obito in disbelief, hoping that Obito would deny him. Unfortunately, Minato Namikaze thought too much about these things. Obito took off the mask on his face. What's wrong? Minato teacher, this mask is really magical. You can turn into anything you want. Obito said while dancing and jumping up, which also made Minato Namikaze show a difficult expression on his face. There is no way. After all, if they really put on this mask, they will be deeply involved in the enemy situation. Sir Tianyu, I think you should think about it again. After all, this matter is too dangerous. Our students are still young. Okay, if you don't want to, you can take the students away. But I have to give you a piece of advice now. It's no longer peaceful in the village. Now is the beginning of the Third Ninja World War. If your students don't experience, they are just flowers in a greenhouse. Tianyu taught Minato Namikaze a lesson without mercy. Because everyone in Konoha village has this idea, so slowly, there will be a gap in the talent stage of Konoha village, which leads to the following scenes. Chapter 508, Espionage Operation. Okay, I know. I'll let them go. Minato Namikaze actually wanted to refute, but he didn't know what to say for a moment. He could only nod helplessly and put the mask on his face. After all, he had just seen the hidden power of this mask, so he didn't test it again. After today's meal, they might be on the road of no return. Minato Namikaze smiled bitterly helplessly, and then sat quietly on the tree, looking at his 3 disciples. Although they didn't spend much time together, it was his first time teaching disciples, so he still brought in feelings. Teacher, don't worry, we are no worse than Tianyu's disciples. Nahalin came to Minato Namake's without knowing when, and handed her a rabbit leg in her hand. Thank you. Minato Namake's was stunned for a moment, then a smile appeared on his face and he took the rabbit leg. That's right, what Lin said was not wrong. Since Tianyu dared to throw his disciples in, what was there for him to be afraid of? Yes, teacher, we will surpass them. After seeing Lin say that, Obito didn't care about anything, stuffed his mouth with rabbit meat, and roared loudly. This funny look made everyone present laugh, and also eased the atmosphere a lot. Even Kakashi clenched his fists, staring at Yuhi Kurenai who was practicing not far away. I must defeat him. In this way, the entire Minato team had their own wishes, and they all looked forward to the deep enemy activities in a while. Tianyu smiled and then packed his luggage. Uncle, you have been really hard these days. We are leaving. You must pay attention to safety on the way. Tianyu was packing his luggage and happened to see the driver sitting next to him smoking. Haha, what are you talking about, little brother? I am very honored to be able to help you ninja adults. I'll wait for you to come back. Next time, I must pull you. The driver naturally heard the difficulty of the mission they were going to perform this time. Looking at the expression of another teacher just now, it can be seen that it will be difficult to survive this time. I have been driving them for a few days, and I have seen the children laughing and talking happily. The driver also felt very sorry, but he was just an ordinary person and could not do much. He could only go home and pray that they could come back alive. Of course, we will definitely come back safely. Tianyu smiled, and then put all the luggage on the ground, and the driver roared and left the forest. Looking at the back of the carriage getting farther and farther away, Tianyu could only smile bitterly, and then handed everyone's luggage to each other. Yu Hihong and Naholin, because you two are girls, I didn't check your bags. Discard all items related to your identity information. Tianyu had already started to check Yu Hihong's backpack, but what caught his eye was a red inner kun. This also made Tianyu give up this idea, and took 2 backpacks and threw them at the feet of the other party, letting them pack them up by themselves. As for himself, he distributed backpacks and asked everyone to check them carefully. In case there is something that he missed, he can take it out quickly. Otherwise, when we get to the camp, if we take out a Konoha specialty, we won't be able to wash it off even if we jump into the Yellow River. Sure enough, there are still a lot of Konoha products in the backpack. Although they are quite useful, they were thrown away. Even some people's underwear or clothes were thrown far away. Just when everyone thought it was almost done, Tianyu suddenly stopped everyone. We will find an Iwagakure to change clothes later. And Obito, throw away your backpack. There are so many Konoha logos. Tianyu was also very helpless. It was a good thing to have so many logos. But now that such a big logo appeared, Tianyu's heart was also very difficult to deal with. Obito quickly turned the backpack over, and what came into view was the big Whirlpool logo. This also made Obito very helpless. It seemed that this was bought cheaply on the anniversary of the founding of the village. Sure enough, something went wrong now. Okay, but what should I do with my equipment? Although clothes and other things can be robbed and worn. But some things are not so easy. For example, your own equipment or some necessities of life. You have to bring all of these. Use mine. Tianyu was about to take out his backpack, but was suddenly interrupted by a voice. Kakashi was holding his backpack and came to Obito and put it on the ground. Although Obito subconsciously wanted to refuse Kakashi's kindness, he knew that he had no other choice now. If he didn't find a way to store his backpack, he might have to go into battle without equipment now. Thank you. Obito's voice was terribly small, and only Kakashi could hear it. You're welcome. Kakashi smiled, and then returned to his original seat, waiting for Tianyu to explain the precautions. Okay, since everyone's affairs have been resolved, I will start to tell you the precautions. Actually, there are not many things to pay attention to. They're all here. As Tianyu said this, a huge photo appeared in his hand, with a lot of words on it. These are the dressing and speaking habits of the Iwagakure. I don't expect you to learn them all perfectly, but you must know them and don't let them slip. After Tianyu finished speaking, he sat down and looked at the Kuratsuchi in the photo. This was also the idea that Tianyu suddenly came up with when he was capturing the tailed beasts. He thought it would be useful at some point, so he took out a photo of Kuratsuchi and observed the appearance of other people. Finally, he summarized it. Not only the drawings of the Iwagakure, but also all the information of the other 3 villages in Tianyu's hands. If it weren't for the relatives of the actor in front of him, no one would be able to recognize him. Wow, teacher, who is this girl in the photo? Why do you have her photo? After seeing the photo of Kuratsuchi, Yuhikirani suddenly felt very angry for some reason. Subconsciously, she asked a question in her heart. But after asking this question, Yuhikirani regretted what she said very much. Chapter 509, Bullying the Weak and Fearing the Strong. After all, he is not someone of Tianyu. Why ask this question? Oh, you mean him, just an acquaintance. My wife is here. Tianyu took out a photo, on which Hinata looked shy and very cute. This was when Tianyu saw Hinata was so cute, so he tried every means to finally get a photo of Hinata. Sure enough, after everyone saw the photo of Hinata, everyone widened their eyes. Where is this girl from? Why is she so beautiful? At this time, only Namake's Minato looked at Tianyu with a strange face. When he saw Kuratsuchi just now, he felt that things were very strange. After all, there is a girl in the Hidden Rock Village who is very similar to the one in this photo. That is Kuratsuchi, the granddaughter of Tsuchika Jinoki, but Kuratsuchi seems to be not that old now, right? Let's not talk about this. You don't need to look at the girl in the other photo to know who she is. This is exclusive to the eyes of the Hyuga family, the super family of Konoha. This should be the child of the Hyuga family, and judging from the forehead, it should be a resident. Judging from the clothes on his body, he should not be a simple person. But those who have been in Konoha village for many years have never seen this child, which means that this child does not belong to this era at all. What's wrong, brother Minato? Tianyu looked at Minato's eyes with a smile, as if he had already seen what Minato was thinking. And Namake's Minato shook his head quickly, saying that he was fine. But now looking at Tianyu's eyes, he was more and more awed. This person who may not belong to this era, may really come to save this village that has been destroyed? Haha, nothing, I just feel that I have seen the girl in your photo. Since there is nothing, let's leave. Namake's Minato laughed, and then took his team members away from the original place and went to the rock ninja gathering place. Tianyu saw Namake's Minato's abnormal appearance, and could only smile, and then grabbed 2 disciples and disappeared from the original place. At this time, in the rock ninja gathering place, a small team of rock ninjas were walking out, and it seemed that they had received some tasks. Especially the leader was cursing here. Really? What's going on? I finally got the mission, and now we have to look for firewood. Thinking of this, the team leader couldn't help but punch the ancient tree next to him. Originally, when the leader told him that there was a mission, he was so excited that he almost jumped up and shook wildly. Who knew that the final result would be like this? Captain, there seems to be something ahead, should we go and take a look? Just as the team leader was cursing, the team members suddenly saw that the jungle ahead seemed to understand. It seemed that there was something ahead. This made the originally angry team leader's face change. Because the leader had already cleaned up the area very cleanly. There were no animals along the way, so how could there be creatures coming out? Everyone be alert, it seems that we can get credit for picking up firewood, everyone be careful. The team leader repeatedly ordered, and then led the team members to slowly move forward. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. After a few sounds that broke through the air, all the members of the Rock Ninja team fell to the ground. The team leader's face changed immediately, and he turned his head and wanted to escape. If you run again, you will be the next one to fall to the ground. At this time, a kunai was placed on his neck, and Minato Namake's appeared behind him. At this time, Tianyu also ran out with a few children and came to the captain. This is someone from Konoha. Looking at the familiar Anbu costumes on Kakashi and their forward protectors, the captain's pupils shrank and recognized him. Haha, you have good eyesight, not bad. Tianyu laughed, then kicked the captain to the ground and put his foot on his face. Okay, since you have recognized us, you have to tell us what we ask you. It's just a few Konoha ninjas, don't you know that your combat effectiveness has declined? Now your village is not at the same level as ours. Let me go now, I won't hold you accountable for killing my men. It is obvious that the captain is now very clear about the current situation of Konoha village and is not afraid of them at all. He even wants to get up and argue with Tianyu. Swish! With a sound of breaking through the air, blood spurted out of the captain's arm. Ah! What are you doing? At this time, Tianyu was holding a kunai in his hand, and his blood was still on it. Don't you realize what your situation is now? I'm giving you a chance to organize your words. You answer whatever I ask. Do you understand? Tianyu's eyes showed a fierce light, which didn't look like Tianyu who lived in peace with him at all. Are all teachers so scary? Zirikurnai couldn't help but take 2 steps back, and then she stabilized her emotions. Even Might Guy couldn't help but show off a little, and didn't dare to look directly at the scene in front of him. Hey! Namikaze Minato couldn't help but sigh when he saw the look of these children. The children nowadays have not experienced big storms, but they have become like this. It's just torture, and they shed a little blood, but they are already scared like this. At this time, Namikaze Minato finally understood why Tianyu had to come here to train. If it continues like this, no matter how powerful the disciples he trained are, when they really get to the real field, their combat effectiveness will drop sharply. Even worse than the combat effectiveness of an ordinary person. At this time, Minato Namikaze admired Tianyu even more. He always felt that Tianyu had reached an unknown realm. At this time, the captain wanted to resist, but seeing the fierce light in Tianyu's eyes, he nodded subconsciously. I know. Okay, I'll start asking. Then Tianyu asked about the current situation here and their identities. After asking everything, the captain also breathed a sigh of relief. He felt that he was not facing a child. It was completely like a prehistoric beast, not giving him any chance to breathe. Not only that, he also felt a terrifying pressure on Tianyu. He had only felt this feeling on that Tsuchikage before. Chapter 510, Movie Emperor Tianyu. How is it possible? Why is there such a genius in Konoha village? The captain was very upset and wanted to tell the leader about this matter. Brother, I have told you what I know. Are you going to let me go? The captain said with a flattering smile on his face. Who knew that he suddenly felt a strange feeling, and then saw a headless body? Isn't this my body? At this moment, the captain suddenly realized something and wanted to scream, but he couldn't control his mouth at all. Why? At this time, he felt that the vision he saw was slowly swallowed by the darkness. And the last thing that came into view was Tianyu's squinting smile. Haha, is it all done? Interesting. Tianyu wiped his hands, threw the kunai next to the captain's head, and then put on the mask. You guys deal with the body yourself, and then dress up as a corpse. We are going in. No matter what, Tianyu must kill the captain. Otherwise, if someone in the camp finds their traces, it will naturally be unsafe. Lying why is that they need an identity to enter the camp, and the identity of the team leader who can come and go freely is still very useful. After hearing Tianyu's words, everyone's face became very ugly. After all, this is dressed as a dead person. Wouldn't it be a bit too dare or not, if you go in and get caught, just don't identify me. Tianyu raised his hand indifferently, but looked at his 2 disciples. Fortunately, these 2 disciples were still very good, and they handled the 2 corpses in a pot, and then they got masks. Even Namikaze Minato had finished and put on a mask. Oh, by the way, there are clothes, you have to wear theirs too, you must continue. Tianyu smiled, looking at the only 3 people who hadn't moved, and couldn't help laughing. Kakashi was still okay. After struggling in his heart, he came to the corpse. After a series of things, the matter was finally settled. But Nahorin and Obito on the other side were not so lucky. Especially the body left for Obito at the end. Maybe because Minato Namikaze acted too quickly, the head had already drooped. Because of a carelessness, it lay directly on Obito's shoulder. After Obito screamed, he threw the body on the ground, and the whole person had already run away. Obito, stop fooling around, we are wasting time. Although Nahorin was very disgusting now, he still resisted the nausea and found a place to change clothes. Then he put on the mask. The next moment, everyone except Obito disguised themselves as Iwagakure. And Obito's face was now red. Although he wanted to explain, he saw that Rin had just said that about him. It also made Obito angry in his heart, and in a rage. He did everything well. Not bad, you have done everything anyway. You should not have forgotten the question I asked the captain just now. Right. Tianyu saw that everything was done, and walked up and asked. Remember, Tianyu teacher. Everyone shouted in unison, with a serious face. Who knew that Tianyu's face changed, and he punched the tree. There is no teacher Tianyu now. Now there is only your team leader. Do you understand, team members? Understood. Everyone remembered that they had dressed up as someone else. If they still kept their own habits, their lives would be in danger. Okay, since we all know, let's go. Tianyu smiled, and then led everyone away from the original place, and picked up firewood along the way. After all, the purpose of their team going out this time was to find firewood. If they went back without bringing anything, they would be exposed. Moreover, he wounded himself a few times, and then pretended to be tired. After all, their number was still not enough for a team. In the end, there would be a few more corpses in the team, and they could only find excuses to fool around. Okay, you wait at the door now, I'll be back soon. Tianyu glanced at Minato Namikaze and then came to the command center of the camp. Now he just had to fool around here. Other things were not too difficult. Tianyu calmed himself down and walked in. Master shouldn't be in any trouble, after all, Master is so powerful. Although Might Guy said this, he was very honest, clenching his fists and biting his lips until they bled. It's okay, you have to believe your master. Namikaze Minato said all of this, and then looked at the children nervously. If there was any accident, he could only quickly take the children away first. As for Tianyu, this guy's flying thunder god was even more powerful than his own, so there would be no problem escaping. I said, how long will you be out, and you're back so late? Just as Tianyu walked into the command center, a familiar figure appeared in front of Tianyu. Isn't this Huangtu? Why is he here? Sir, our team had an accident just now, so we came back so late. Tianyu was afraid that Huangtu would not believe him, so he quickly showed his wound to Huangtu. Do you know who it is? Huangtu was obviously stunned when he heard this, and then asked. I don't know, but I saw the uniforms of Konoha ninjas, but I'm not sure. Tianyu did not hide it. After all, they could investigate these things. If he lied, the probability of something going wrong would be higher. Okay, I know. You take your team down to rest first. Thank you for your hard work. Huangtu thought about it and felt that it was nothing, so he let Tianyu go. Just as Tianyu turned around and left, he happened to meet a little girl who passed by. Kurado? Tianyu smiled. He didn't expect that the hidden rock village would use so much effort this time, and even children had to go to the battlefield. No wonder the third generation died so miserably. It was not without cost. Then Tianyu left the room with his eyes fixed, leaving Huangtu and Kurado in the room. Father, why do I always feel like I have seen that person just now? Kurado looked at Tianyu's back in confusion. Chapter 511 The assessment begins. How come you haven't seen them? Didn't you see these uncles when you came here? Huangtu looked at Heitu indifferently, and then continued to organize his battle report. Although Heitu nodded, he still looked in the direction of Tianyu in confusion. She was not talking about the appearance of this uncle, but the character of this uncle. He always felt that this uncle was not the uncle before. Okay, Heitu, you go down, remember to pay attention to safety and don't be reckless. Huangtu directly drove Heitu out, and then ignored Heitu beside him. Heitu didn't say anything and left the command center directly. At this time, Tianyu had returned to the team and took everyone back to the tent. Huangtu just knew that their team was now full of wounded. There should be no need to carry out large-scale missions. Next, we have to see where they go. But looking at Huangtu's appearance, he should also go to support the third rackage. If not, find a way to disintegrate internally. Okay, now it's up to you. My brother and I won't help you. If your life is in danger, we will help you, but it also means that your performance will stop. After Tianyu finished speaking, he glanced at Minato Namikaze, and the two of them came to the bed and drank tea. The 5 little guys were very worried. This was their first mission. Even if they failed, they couldn't be the first to be eliminated. Then the 5 people nodded and ran out in a direction. What's wrong? Tianyu saw that although Minato Namikaze was holding tea, his eyes were always in the direction of the door. Nothing, I just think these little guys can really do without us. Haha, if you are worried, go and see. If there is danger, we can also help. Tianyu smiled and then lay on the bed. Well, okay, I know, If the little guys come back later, you keep an eye on them. Minato Namikaze also wanted Shionyu's optimistic look, but there was no way, he was that kind of person. Then Minato Namikaze left the tent. After Namikaze Minato left, Shiony shook his head helplessly. Who wouldn't worry about the two little guys? However, Shiony had a detection mouse in his hand, so he could observe in real time. When someone had a problem, he could come to their side as soon as possible. At this time, Lin was with Obito. Originally, they chose a direction to obtain intelligence. Who knows how, the two of them met each other inexplicably, and just like that, the two of them came together. At this time, Obito's heart was already full of joy. After all, this is a chance given to him by God, and he must grasp it well. Lin brother, I hope you don't call my name, because we are not familiar with each other. Obito, who was about to call out his real name, was stunned for a moment, and quickly covered his mouth and looked around. Fortunately, no one saw it. I'm sorry, I forgot. Obito was also very self-blaming. Just now, he was careless and almost dragged the two of them into a situation where there was no return. Be careful, big brother, what's the matter? Oh, kid, let's go together. After all, there seems to be a cafeteria ahead. Let's go together. Obito said with a smile, and then walked in front of Lin. Although Lin wanted to go one way each, so that she could complete the task more quickly. But after seeing Obito's look, she was too embarrassed to say anything, so she nodded and followed him. 2 points for letting personal feelings get in the way. 2 points for correcting teammates' mistakes in time. Just after the two left, Namikaze Minato appeared in an alley with a small notebook in his hand. Then Namikaze Minato disappeared from the spot. The next moment, he appeared near Kakashi and observed Kakashi's performance. At this time, Kakashi was walking aimlessly in the camp, greeting people from time to time. It was as if he had really integrated into this place completely, and he was not a spy at all. Haha, worthy of being from the Anbu, very good, 2 extra points. Namikaze Minato laughed, feeling very satisfied with what Kakashi had done. After all, only by integrating into the other party's field of vision can some important information be obtained. These are still very important. After Namikaze Minato finished scoring, he left the place again and appeared behind Might Guy. He wanted to see whether Shionyu's disciple could reach an omnipotent level. If it was really that powerful, then Namikaze Minato was completely convinced. At this time, Might Guy was not so good, because Might Guy had a very straightforward personality, so he didn't understand any spy behavior. When he met someone, he would act like a big fool and stand next to others and listen. Unexpectedly, such a simple behavior allowed Might Guy to hear a lot of information. You know, Zetsu said that our 10,000 rock ninja troops have already been exhausted. Otherwise, they wouldn't have called us urgently. I don't know if another 10,000 can beat the demon. And Rock Ninja couldn't help but say worriedly, and at this time, all these words were remembered by Might Guy. Now the frontline troops have suffered huge losses, with a number of about 10,000. Now Might Guy has left this sentence in his mind. Then he continued to stand in this circle and quietly act as an intelligence collector. Namikaze Minato didn't know what to say at this time. After all, this method is not impossible. But she still didn't agree with this method. After all, being able to get intelligence in the circle may require a component of luck. Perform steadily, no increase or decrease. In the end, Namikaze Minato also scored a decent score, and then went to the last child, Yuhi. If this continues, it seems that the most perfect here is Kakashi, who has served in the Anbu. Speaking of which, this is all as it should be. Maybe I gave Shionyu's too much hope. Finally, even Shionyu's disciples have great hope. After all, not everyone has such abnormal talents. It is already remarkable that one Shionyu's has emerged. If 2 more emerge, maybe Konoha village will usher in a second heyday, right? Chapter 512 Confused Soul. After Namikaze Minato arranged everything, he went to the last place to see how Yuhi grades were. Anyway, there shouldn't be much, so he'll go find Shiony after scoring. Then Namikaze Minato disappeared from the spot. At this time, Yuhi was in a military camp, and there was a captain-level existence inside. Yuhi had already taken off her original disguise and turned into another beautiful woman. After adjusting her expression, she walked into the tent. Didn't I tell you that if there is nothing, don't come in? The captain didn't even raise his head and continued to do what he was doing. Kurani smiled and then danced. My lord, the leader asked me to come here to relieve your pressure. After all, you have too much official business, and even the leader is very heartbroken when he sees it. Kurani came to the captain's side with a pot of wine in her hand. The captain wanted to say something. After all, his heart was at a certain time, and he still wanted beauty to come. But when he saw Ziri Hong's appearance, he immediately widened his eyes and put down his work. Although this matter is a little bad, but I still think it can be tried. The captain laughed, stood up and hurriedly took off his shirt. This also made Ziri Hong's eyes vaguely show a trace of disgust. Really, his personality is not as good as the master. Although the master is a little arrogant, it's still good. I don't know why Ziri Hong suddenly thought of Tianyu in his heart. But fortunately, he shook his head, and the smile on his face did not stop, but his eyes began to change slowly. A lotus pattern appeared in Ziri Hong's eyes, making Ziri Hong's eyes look more ghostly. Then the captain froze in place after seeing Ziri Hong's eyes, looking at the front with a blank look. What a pervert. Ziri Hong couldn't help but stepped forward and kicked the captain, and then began his own interrogation. Tianyu basically knew what he asked, that is, the few questions that often appeared. As soon as Kurani came in, Minato Namikaze had already been waiting outside. When he saw Kurani's technique, he couldn't help showing an expression of admiration on his face. For a girl to be able to do this, for a 9-year-old girl, it was already a great achievement. In addition, Kurani's illusion technique had been significantly improved. Obviously, Kurani won the reconnaissance score this time. Good at using your abilities, willing to sacrifice, and thoughtful, 10 points. After writing this string of numbers in the notebook, Minato Namikaze disappeared from the spot. Then Minato Namikaze appeared in the tent, and saw Tianyu lying on the bed. He sat aside without making a sound. You are very good. You are not treated differently because you are my apprentice. Tianyu's sudden words startled Minato Namikaze, but then turned into shock. He didn't tell Tianyu what he had just done. Why did Tianyu say this out of the blue? Haha, Lord Tianyu, I don't know what you are talking about. Namikaze Minato thought that Tianyu was probably just testing him, so he temporarily admitted it. After Tianyu heard what Namikaze Minato said, he couldn't help but frown. Instead, he smiled. Brother Minato, if you say that, it's not fair. After all, I have seen so many things you have done, and I have seen the whereabouts of all of you. After Tianyu said this, he didn't say anything else and closed his eyes quietly. Namikaze Minato also looked at Tianyu with a cautious face. He didn't understand how Tianyu followed him. After all, his space ninjutsu is very sensitive. As long as there is an outbreak of space ninjutsu nearby, he can completely detect a trace of clues. But in the entire military camp, except for the space ninjutsu he used, it seems that no one used it. Could it be that Tianyu followed him and didn't use Flying Thunder God? But if it wasn't Flying Thunder God, what other methods did he use to follow him? Minato Namikaze looked at the boy in front of him and felt that he was getting more and more confused. He always felt that there were too many secrets in this boy, but every time he felt that he had already shown almost everything. This boy would bring him too many surprises again. Brother Minato, do you believe in reincarnation? Tianyu didn't know why, but he suddenly opened his eyes and said something. Because Tianyu didn't have a very bad impression of Minato Namikaze. So he chatted with Minato Namikaze more and more. After hearing Tianyu's question, Minato Namikaze was also stunned for a moment. Then he couldn't help laughing. Who can tell? If there is really reincarnation, I really hope to go back to the past and change my choice. Minato said, with a happy smile on his face. Because his choice at the beginning made his life better and better. And he naturally had some choices that he felt unsatisfactory, so he had to change them. Then you say, if you really go back to the past and change the future, is it really better than leaving it as it is? Tianyu has been troubled by this question for a long time. He doesn't know if he can change the outside world here. Because of this, Tianyu was trembling in everything he did, and he hardly dared to use too much of his own strength. He was afraid that because of his existence, some order would be disturbed, which would cause changes in the future. It was also because of this that Tianyu would constantly look for Minato Namikaze to duel to relieve his inner panic. When Minato Namikaze saw Tianyu's appearance, it seemed as if he had understood something. Then he sat next to Tianyu and said with a smile. Haha, Why think so much? Don't things just go with the flow? Do whatever you want. Since you have already gone back, it is a wrong system in itself, so how can it be wrong? Minato Namokaze's words filled Shionyu's eyes with light. That's right. Minato Namokaze was not wrong. Since he was back, his existence itself was a mistake. Why must he insist on whether what he did would change the future or not? This is already unreasonable for his own personality. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 513 Stupid Avengers. Thank you, Brother Minato. Shionyu's eyes couldn't help but light up, and he thanked Minato Namokaze, and then quietly lay down on the bed again. When Minato Namokaze saw Shionyu's relaxed look, for some reason, he, who liked to be vigilant, also lay down beside him. After an unknown amount of time, Minato Namokaze couldn't help but ask, Sir Shiony, I wonder what the future will be like. Shiony opened his eyes, then closed them again, thinking for a long time. Sir Shiony. Minato Namokaze thought Shiony was asleep, and couldn't help but shout. Shiony smiled and started talking. Since he had already asked questions about the future, even if Minato Namokaze was stupid, he should be able to think of something. So he didn't hide it, and told what he knew as a story. Future, I heard a story about a leader who led people to destroy a monster that destroyed the village. Then, the hero's descendants were plotted against by someone, and their entire childhood was full of darkness. Who knew that he would become a hero who saved the village in the end? Shiony said, while opening his eyes and looking at Minato Namokaze who was lying beside him. At this time, Minato Namokaze's face, for some reason, although there was no expression, had tears flowing. Huh? What's wrong with me? Why am I crying? Minato Namokaze said, while wiping the tears from his face. The whole person didn't know why he laughed. Haha, what an interesting story, Lord Shiony, your story is really good. Of course, I am a very talented story expert. Shiony smiled, and finally stood up and came to the door. The children are back, let's announce the results of this exam. Minato Namokaze also stood up, hiding his emotions, and then came to the other side of Shiony. The first to come back was the duo of Nahorin and Obito. There was no smile on the faces of the two people. Obito would occasionally try to revolve with Nahorin, but now Nahorin obviously didn't want to talk to Obito. So every time he would just say and ought to deal with it. As for Obito, he was not very bored, but felt that it was very good to have Nahorin by his side. When he saw the two teachers, he quickly distanced himself from Nahorin, and then smiled at Minato Namokaze. Minato teacher, we are back, but we didn't get any information. Minato Namokaze couldn't believe his ears and looked at the two in surprise. He thought that even if the two people's grades were so bad, they should not say that they didn't get any information. He looked at Nahorin, wanting to get a different answer. But soon Nahorin broke Minato Namokaze's fantasy, and he nodded helplessly, and then sat aside. It wasn't what Nahorin wanted. But along the way, even if Obito tried to talk to him again, it made it impossible for her to get close to anyone, let alone get any important information. As long as he got close to someone, Obito would come over to make trouble and distance himself from others. What's wrong with you? Can't you even do such a small thing? Namokaze Minato, who had a good personality, was a little angry now. He had been out for a whole half day, and even if he asked the other party what time dinner would be, he would be so angry. Sorry, teacher, we were wrong. Nahorin did not make excuses, because she knew that no matter how many excuses she made, it could not make up for the fact that she had not completed the task. And Obito was not too willful. He also knew that he might have really done something wrong this time. So he could only stand aside with his head down, quietly looking at Namokaze Minato. Okay, go aside, I'll deal with you later. Namokaze Minato waved his hand, and then took the two of them aside. At this time, Kakashi also ran in from outside. He held a document in his hand, and then put it in the hand of Namokaze Minato. I have collected so much information this time. Since the other party is so tight-lipped, there is not much useful information. Okay, got it. When Minato Namokaze saw the information in Kakashi's hand, his face became much better. Then he nodded and motioned Kakashi to wait aside. Although Kakashi was also very confused about why Minato teacher had such an expression now, he still stood obediently beside Naholin. Next was Might Guy. The amount of information Might Guy collected was nothing special. Most of it was some daily things. What time did the troops have dinner? Or when can we go to bed and rest? Normally, this kind of information would be a very ordinary score. But with Obito and the other two at the bottom, Might Guy's score was not strange. In the end, everyone looked at the door quietly, waiting for Kurenai to arrive, to judge the existence of these two guys. Finally, Kurenai finally walked in from outside. When everyone saw that Kurenai had nothing in her hands, Obito finally couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, although the price he paid this time might be not small. But at least there is one more person to accompany him, which is not bad. Hong, where is your information? Minato Namikaze's tone was obviously softened this time. After all, it was impossible for Kurenai to not get the information. After he saw Kurenai had saved the other team leader, it was time to get all the information. Even Tianyu had a smile on his face and looked at Kurenai. Haha, didn't you get anything like me? Don't ask, punish us quickly. I don't know what's wrong with Obito, he just shouted it out, and then sat aside. Tianyu couldn't help but frown. I thought that in modern times, this guy's brain should be pretty good. Who knew that when he was young, he was such a brainless guy? Even Minato Namikaze couldn't help it, and appeared directly behind Obito and kicked him to the ground. I'm telling you, you've already got your head cut off by the Anbu for this behavior. Also, don't think that everyone is the same as you. If you say one more word, even if you are an Uchiha, don't blame me for being rude. As he spoke, Minato Namikaze had already placed his kunai on Obito's neck. Chapter 514, the first place winner will also be punished? Teacher, I know. Obito quickly shut his mouth. He could have been arrogant for a while because of his status. But after Minato Namikaze said that, he quickly shut his mouth. With Minato Namikaze's status, it is no problem to kill him. In the case that he made such a serious mistake, even if he was really killed, Uchiha couldn't say a word. It's good to know, Hong, show your results. Minato Namikaze's expression also eased a lot, and he looked at Hong who was standing not far away. Hong was obviously frightened by Minato Namikaze's action, and quickly looked at Tianyu not far away. Tianyu could only smile helplessly, and then nodded. After Tianyu's tacit consent, Kurenai dared to tell the information she had obtained. Kurenai didn't say anything, and directly told everyone the specific time of the attack. I have heard about that. Our team is now the main force of the volunteer front. Everyone should already know the number of people. As for the time of attack, it will be at dawn tomorrow night. As for the battlefield, it is also our destination, where the wreckage is besieged. After hearing this information, even though Minato Namikaze already knew it, he still nodded with satisfaction. Very good, the best performance this time is Kurenai-san. Minato Namikaze looked at Uchiha Obito next to him with cold eyes. In addition, Uchiha Obito-san, in addition to not getting any points, has not received any information. So the punishment this time is very simple. Go out and squat for a night. For a ninja, it should not be too serious. Huh? Obito widened his eyes, unable to believe that Minato Namikaze would give such a punishment. That teacher, isn't it a bit too serious? Even if he is a ninja, how can he be outside? Do what I say. If you don't want to do it, leave now. I won't stop you. After Minato Namikaze said the last sentence, he disappeared in the room. Obito wanted to say something, but when he thought of the terrifying aura on Minato Namikaze just now, he couldn't help but shudder. After all, if he left now, even if he returned to Konoha village, he would be dead or skinned. Let's not talk about this. If he really returned to Konoha village by accident, it would be nothing. Because those old guys of Uchiha were very much looking forward to it becoming Minato Namikaze's proud disciple. If they knew that he was driven back by Minato, they would send him back even if they broke his legs. So he was very helpless and could only walk out of the tent and squat. And no one paid attention to him on the way. After all, there were many people exercising in the military camp. There was nothing to see in a squatting horse stance. Might Guy, you go out too, do handstand push-ups until dawn. I am not satisfied with the task you completed. Tianyu also called Might Guy and drove him out directly. Yes. Might Guy didn't say any nonsense. After all, he also knew what his results were this time. Even after he came back, he was a little embarrassed to show his hand. When Nahorin and Kakashi saw Might Guy walk out, their faces couldn't help but turn red. They were still complacent about their own achievements. As for Nahorin, she was very sober. She was not punished for not obtaining the information. This was already a good thing for Nahorin. But Might Guy's performance was also very good in their eyes. The difficulty of the punishment was even higher than that of Obito. And you, Kurenai, don't think that your intelligence acquisition this time was very good. It's just a simple task, and I almost got myself involved. Remember this, no matter what, your own safety is the most important. You also go out and squat. Yes. Kurenai was also very helpless. She wanted to be praised by Tianyu. Even just once was perfect. But after Might Guy accepted the punishment, who could have thought that it would be his turn in the end? At this time, Nahorin and Kakashi looked at each other, and then they could only smile helplessly, and follow them out to do horse dance. After all, even Yuhi Kurenai was scolded, and this was the best intelligence. If they were to lie on the bed now, what would be the point? At this time, Namake's Minato, who was hiding in the dark, also came out with a bitter smile and saw the children outside the door. Sir Amaji, isn't this a bit too much? Can't we all go out and squat? Originally, he just wanted to use Obito to kill the chicken to scare the monkeys. After all, who can be so good at the first mission? Who knew that Amaji didn't give them this opportunity at all, and threw them all out? Haha, what kind of flower is Minato? He has a lot of grades, but they are not good. Being the first among a group of trash, what's so great about it? Amaji didn't lower his voice when he said this, and it was directly heard by everyone squatting outside, and Yuhi Kurenai's face was also terribly red. What the teacher said was not wrong. If Amaji was the same age as Namake's Minato, maybe they would not be able to recover. But the fact is that Tianyu is not very old, and he is even at the same level as them. Now he has such strength, you can imagine how terrifying Tianyu's strength would be at their age. After Tianyu said this, no one could refute it. Namake's Minato smiled helplessly, and then disappeared from the spot to guard his disciples. Report, only 2 members of the 37th team are left in the house, and the others are squatting outside. This matter is not a simple matter. Because the whole team came out to exercise, all the ninjas would exclaim if they saw it, right? What did you say? All went out. Huanto was also very surprised and a little bit couldn't believe his ears. After all, these are the teams that were just injured today. Why are they squatting now? Let's go and see what the devil boy has done. Huanto was also very helpless. The war was about to start tomorrow, and now there was such a scene. Yes. So Wang Tu brought his guards to the outside of Tianyu's open top and saw the drowsy Iwen ninjas. Chapter 515, Deteriorated Mission. Yan 12, come out here, I want to ask you, the war is imminent, why are you doing this? Wang Tu is also very angry now. If everyone imitates this, won't something happen? Tianyu also heard Wang Tu's voice and ran out quickly, as if he was very scared. My lord, you don't know, these little guys are so disobedient, why do they want to run around? Look for yourself, I'm really too angry. Tianyu pretended to be very angry and kicked the fainted Obito to the ground. Obito looked at Tianyu in surprise. He couldn't believe that Tianyu could kick him at this time. But he didn't dare to speak now, after all, the leaders of the other people were here. If he accidentally exposed their identities, then things would be troublesome. Okay, Yan 12, it's already like this, you should take a good rest from me, and let your men stew in moderation. After seeing Tianyu like this, Huanto knew that these guys might have really done something against the will of heaven. So he didn't say much, and then left the camp. Tianyu also smiled, then sneered at Obito, and then walked into the tent. And Namake's Minato, who was hiding in the dark, also put away the kunai in his hand, and then disappeared into the darkness. Because of this incident, they also admired Tianyu even more. After all, although the means of dealing with things just now were very extreme, it was also a very effective way. In addition, Tianyu's acting skills just now were really good. If it weren't for them knowing that he was a spy. Now they all wondered if he was really an Iwagakure. Sir Tianyu, it's really good. It's a pity that you don't become an actor with your acting skills. Namake's Minato appeared in the room, and seeing Tianyu as if nothing had happened, he could only smile helplessly. He really admired this guy's mentality. Haha, what's the big deal? My wish is to be the man who wins the Oscar. This little thing is not a big deal. Tianyu laughed, and then an eye appeared in his hand. This is the 3 Magatama eye that he left outside. He was originally trying to figure out how to retrieve it. It seems that Huangtu came to him inexplicably. Tianyu originally wanted to use the scout mouse, but for some reason, the scout mouse was discovered inexplicably as soon as it came to this guy, and was directly destroyed in the end. Tianyu's scout mouse was not blown by the wind, so Tianyu did not leave the scout mouse. When he came into contact with Huangtu, he directly put the 3 Magatama eye into Huangtu's backpack. Just when he came, he retrieved it. That Mr. Tianyu, what is the Oscar winner? At this time, when Tianyu was looking at the 3 Magatama eye in his hand, Minato Namake's words called Tianyu back to his thoughts. Nothing, it's just a way of addressing, don't take it seriously. Tianyu was too lazy to explain, and after a sloppy explanation, he placed the 3 Magatama eyes on his forehead. The next moment, Tianyu knew all the information about Huangtu in the command and operations room today. This also let Tianyu know a very important secret. How could this happen? Isn't the mission this time to rescue the wreckage? Because in the information, Tianyu was told that this time it was not a mission where the wreckage was surrounded. It was because that such a of their village was captured by the wreckage that they would use the power of the entire village to save the shadow. Why is this a little different from what I heard? Tianyu complained helplessly in his heart, and then he didn't care about these things. Anyway, the affairs of other villages have nothing to do with him. Even if they are related, what can he do? After all, his relationship with these 2 villages is not very good. So Tianyu just wants to know this famous scene in history, or wants to know what the truth of the matter is. Brother Minato, something unexpected might happen tomorrow, so make sure to protect the children. Tianyu said to the ceiling, and then left the room and went somewhere unknown. Sir, what on earth did you know? Why did you run out so quickly? Minato Namikaze was also very helpless when he saw the place where Tianyu had stayed. After all, Tianyu had too many secrets, and even made Minato Namikaze feel powerless. Even when Sarutobi Hiruzen stood in front of him, he was not so scared. But when Tianyu stood in front of him powerlessly, he felt that amazing sense of oppression on his body. It was as if he could be crushed at any time and anywhere. Really, these guys are not very strong, why are they running around? Tianyu was also very helpless. He had appeared on a cliff dozens of kilometers away from the camp. The bottom of the cliff was the location of this battle. Even now, under the cliff, amazing explosions could be heard. Really, let's go and have a look. Otherwise, if these guys die, I will have no source of happiness. Tianyu smiled helplessly, then left the place and came to the cliff. What came into view was the corpses all over the ground, and the bloody air blowing in his face. Oh my god, no wonder this matter was so famous at the beginning. So many people have died. What is so special about the 3rd generation? After all, even in modern times, no matter how powerful Tsunade and others are, it is already a very remarkable thing to be able to escape from the encirclement of thousands of people. It's not that their combat effectiveness is not enough, because the combat effectiveness of an army is really too strange. Not only are there some owners of strange abilities, there are also some elite Jonin. These are all combat resources that play a very important role in a battle. If there are 10,000 people, this has already used up all the ninjas in the village. Not to mention the number of elite Jonin, it is estimated that there are at least 100 if not 1,000 special bloodline limits. Escaping from these guys is simply a desperate act, not to mention the constant confrontation, which has resulted in corpses everywhere. Chapter 516, Idiot Danzo. Something is strange. Tianyu only had this in mind, and then he came to the edge of the battlefield. Although the mission said that the current team already had 10,000 people. But seeing the huge crowds of people, Tianyu couldn't help crying and laughing. This is not just a matter of 10,000 people, but a battlefield with at least 30,000 people. If the wreckage doesn't die of exhaustion, who will? Then he saw the 2 leaders at the front, and it seemed that he was forced to join the battle this time. AI, what do you want? I just came out to scout my territory. Why do you come to stop me? I tell you, now all 30,000 ninjas from my Iwagakure village are here, and more than 10,000 are on the way. I'll give you a chance. As long as you leave now, I won't say anything, and I won't mention this matter again. Anoki is also very helpless now. He came out to play by himself and wanted to relax. Who knew that this guy suddenly went crazy and had to fight with him? He also said that he must end this era and unite their village and the 5 ones. The meaning of this sentence is already very clear. In fact, Inoki had this idea in his heart a long time ago. But how can this be accomplished so easily? The most powerful cage in the history of each village is in the village. In addition to the fact that the cage of Konoha village is dead now, the village is in a mess, but the old ministers are still there. As long as these old guys fight hard, even if the 2 villages join forces, they will only die slower. Who gave the 3rd generation of Raikage such courage to say such a thing? Tiantian, I'm sorry, I must complete this matter. Since you don't leave the village, I can only kill you first and then lead a rock ninja. The 3rd generation Raikage laughed loudly, and then the lightning on his body became more and more obvious, and 8 tails appeared faintly behind him. At this time, Tianyu, who rushed to the battlefield, saw this scene and couldn't help showing a little understanding on his face. He finally understood why this guy's fighting power was so persistent. But after the 4th Ninja World War, this old man was actually beaten by a Rasengan of Uzumaki Naruto and became unable to take care of himself. What is there to admire about a person who relies on the power of the tailed beast? 8 Tail, you are so secretive. I didn't expect you to be the mastermind behind the scenes. I really didn't expect it. Tianyu originally thought that the 8 Tail, which looks honest, should not have any special stories. But it seems that Tianyu really underestimated the intelligence of the tailed beast after living for so many years. I didn't expect that the 8 Tails means of whitewashing were so clever. 8 Tail? I didn't expect you to regard yourself as a Jinchuriki. You really don't want to die. Inoki naturally understood the characteristics of the Jinchuriki, so when he saw the 3rd Raikage like this, his face became very ugly. It seems that the 3rd Raikage's plan has been implemented a long time ago. Otherwise, he would not have blocked himself from existence. All the Iwagakure ninjas in Iwagakure, since this old guy doesn't know how to behave, let's teach him a lesson. How about letting this old guy stay in our Iwagakure today? Okay, stay, and leave the useless Kumagakure. All the ninjas in Iwagakure responded loudly, and then rushed out and stood up against the Raikage. Originally, Inoki wanted to stop it. But he also knew that what the Iwagakure ninjas said now was just an impulse in their hearts. If these young people were to stop now, they might not dare to meet again in the future. Really, these guys are really not very quiet. In this case, I'll go back. Tianyu smiled helplessly, and then he didn't want to care about what happened here. Anyway, he would bring people here tomorrow, but if they wanted to help that side, it was up to those guys to choose. He would just give them scores on the side. However, I don't know which idiot put the task in the task center. Since he didn't find out the pros and cons, he put the task in the task hall. It is obvious that the Raikage's goal this time is to occupy all the villages. The Hidden Rock village is just the beginning. The next one is likely to be the Konoha village, which is the weakest at present. If someone is given the task of attacking the Konoha village in the future, I don't know if these 3 cannons can also be used. HU. At this time, Shimura Danzo was taking a leisurely bath in Konoha village, and there were several beautiful women dressing up beside him. My lord, what's wrong with you? Did you catch a cold? Everyone looked at Shimura Danzo worriedly, fearing that something would happen to Danzo, and then they would be in trouble. Well, it's possible, get out of the bath. After Shimura Danzo took a breath, he asked the beautiful woman next to him to put on her clothes and walked out. The culprit of this incident was this old guy. He originally thought it was nothing, and no one would accept this kind of task anyway, so he didn't go to investigate it specifically. Even if he knew that Namokaze Minato had received the task, he didn't think it was a big deal. Anyway, Namokaze Minato's fighting power was there, so it shouldn't be a big problem. So even now, Danzo has not told Sarutobi Hirozen about this matter. If Sarutobi Hirozen knew their current situation, even if he was Danzo, he might not feel good, right? At this time, Minato Namokaze, who was in the military camp, had already called in everyone except Might Guy and Obito. Might Guy was too stubborn and just refused to come in. His upside-down body did not move. Kurenai didn't want to come in at first, but after being persuaded by the 3 people, she had to come in. He looked outside the door nervously, fearing that Tenai would come back and lose his temper after seeing him come in. He didn't know when he started to pay special attention to Tenai's temper, and he was afraid that Tenai would get angry every time. It was in sharp contrast to his previous disobedient character. As the saying goes, what you fear will come to you. At this moment, Tianyu appeared in front of Kurenai. He happened to see Kurenai sitting aside, fidgeting. You all go out now. Sorry, I'll go out now. Yu Hihong quickly stood up and was about to run out, but was stopped by Minato Namikaze at the door. Sir Tianyu, Yu Hihong did a good job, just squat for a while, we won't have to. He also looked at Tianyu. Am I so scary? Tianyu laughed helplessly. Chapter 517 Exposed. Okay, I know. It's like I have a hard time talking. Tianyu smiled bitterly, then sat on the bed and told Minato Namikaze everything he had seen. At this time, Minato Namikaze was in a dilemma. Which idiot had created such a task? Did he think he didn't live long enough? Minato Namikaze was very regretful now. If he had known earlier, he would have waited before accepting the task. Not only was the task difficult, but it also concerned the fate of the village. He was in trouble this time. Sir Tianyu, what do you think we should do this time? Minato Namikaze was no longer able to concentrate. After all, the task system must complete the task. And these are just guesses. At present, the other party has no plan to threaten Konoha village. This also means that they have no way to cancel the task, otherwise the other party really has no ill will towards Konoha village. They are the biggest villains and must be punished. Well, if it's according to my point of view, it's to help the Rock Ninja kill the third Raikage. The third Raikage must have tried every means to merge the Rock Village. If that's the case, the power of the Cloud Village will reach an unprecedented level. After hearing what Tianyu said, Namikaze Minato nodded in agreement. He also felt that this matter should be done this way, since their two teachers have reached a unified goal. The other students naturally had nothing to say and nodded one after another. After learning about the changes in the mission objectives, Tianyu could only smile helplessly. After giving instructions for tomorrow's precautions, he let everyone rest. HU. At this time, Abrito was still squatting outside the door, thinking about someone coming to save her quickly. But he didn't know that everyone in the room had gone to bed, and no one remembered her existence. Soon, a night passed so quickly. And Tianyu also lazily walked out of the tent and saw Abrito, who was still squatting there, trembling all over. Oh, this guy doesn't look like a good character, but he has a good attitude. Tianyu sighed in his heart, and then patted Abrito on the shoulder. Okay, we have been squatting for such a long time, go in and rest, we will start the mission soon. The organization finally remembered me. Abrito was so excited that he almost stood up and cried. Then Tianyu watched Abrito return to the tent. After Tianyu's expression became serious, he turned his head and walked towards Huangtu's command center not far away. When he walked in, Huangtu looked like he had not slept all night, without raising his head. If you have anything to say it quickly. Now is a critical moment. If there is nothing important, go out. Tianyu saw Huangtu like this, and couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. It seems that not all the people in the Rock Ninja are annoying. After all, Huangtu is still very serious and responsible in doing things. Commander Huangtu, I hope you can talk to me. Tianyu's young voice sounded, and then Tianyu directly tore off the camouflage mask on his face. Who are you? What did you do to Yan 12? After seeing Tianyu's appearance, Huangtu also stood up quickly and kept alert. Really, why do you old people like to scare the good guys so much? Tianyu complained helplessly, and then put his task on the table. From Konoha village, come and execute the plan to save the Raikage. Huangtu couldn't believe his ears and looked in the direction of Tianyu. Is this guy here to kill them? But is there something wrong with this young brain? He actually exposed his identity directly. Aren't they afraid that I will arrest them directly? Boy, are you sent by Konoha village to make me laugh to death? You are like this, and you still want to save the third generation Raikage. Huangtu couldn't help it, holding his stomach and laughing. At this time, Hei-Tu walked in from outside the tent. Dad, what's wrong with you? Why are you laughing so happily? After seeing Huangtu's smile, Hei-Tu was also puzzled. After all, his father hasn't smiled for a long time. Did something good happen today? Huangtu's smile also stopped abruptly, and he looked at his daughter standing next to Tianyu cautiously. If Tianyu was here alone, Huangtu would not have to worry about so many things. But at this time, his daughter came. Oh? Commander Wang Tu seems to be interested in this girl. Do you want to talk about something? Tianyu's hand was raised, and Wang Tu saw a kunai in Tianyu's other hand. Wait a minute, young man, I'm sorry about what happened just now, but I hope you cannot associate this matter with Heitu. What do you want to do? Tell us, we can talk. Heitu seemed to know that there seemed to be something wrong with his arrival. She hurriedly wanted to step back, but a hand had already been placed on his shoulder. Haha, this girl, you see Commander Wang Tu is so cooperative, why don't you sit next to me and chat with me? Tianyu said, and pressed Heitu down and let her sit next to him. Seeing his daughter being humiliated like this, Wang Tu could only give his daughter a reassuring smile. Then his eyes stared at Tianyu. Hey, Commander Wang Tu, aren't we just talking between friends? Actually, I don't say anything. It's just that our team thinks the threat level of the mission has changed this time, so we changed the mission target to help you hunt down the third wreckage. After Tianyu finished speaking, he smiled at Hito next to him. Pour me a glass of water. You. Hito was about to stand up and scold Tianyu, but when he thought of his father's appearance just now, he could only nod helplessly and picked up the kettle to pour a glass of water for Tianyu. Tianyu looked at Wang Tu, who was silent at this time, and was not in a hurry. He picked up the water cup and drank it. Wang Tu was also very hesitant, whether to believe the boy's nonsense. After all, after accepting the mission of Konoha village, if the mission can be changed, it can only be a major threat to the village. Wang Tu, who has not yet joined the battlefield, does not know what the specific situation is. So now after hearing Tianyu say that he wants to change the mission target, he is still very resistant in his heart. He thinks that this is just a special way for Tianyu to get deep into the enemy's situation. Chapter 518, Mission Restarted. Boy, if you think I'm so easy to fool, you've made a move, even if you threaten Hitu's life. Wang Tu wanted to fight back desperately, but she suddenly felt a terrifying murderous aura. Then Tianyu appeared behind him, holding a kunai in his hand and putting it on his neck. Commander Wang Tu, are you really negotiating with you? You know, I'm just a teacher. If it weren't for my students, I wouldn't bother to find you. Now I'm giving you one last chance. Either agree to my plan or I'll send you away now. Tianyu sneered, and then pushed his kunai a few centimeters deeper. Dad. Hito was very anxious when he saw that his father was in danger, and hurriedly wanted to come up to help. Hito. Get down, don't worry about me. Wang Tu quickly raised his hand, and then forced a smile on his face. I don't know who the senior is, but he actually brought his apprentice to my military camp to practice. I'm naturally very happy. Wang Tu said while raising his hand to show that he was not a threat at all. Tianyu smiled when he saw this. What were you doing earlier? You should scare them. Are these guys used to being bullied? Tianyu complained in her heart and then left the headquarters. Don't worry about me. My disciples will take action at the critical moment. Let your men keep their eyes open and don't anger me. Tianyu left the last advice and then disappeared in the room. Who is he? Is there another genius in Konoha village? Wang Tu was relieved when Tianyu left. He finally left, otherwise he really felt a murderous aura on Tianyu. If he really didn't agree with Tianyu's proposal, he might really lose his head. Father, are we really going to compromise like this? Otherwise, let's find a way to call for support. Kuratsuchi was obviously still angry about what happened just now. As the granddaughter of that Tsuchikage, she is a respected person in the Hidden Rock village. But who could have thought that today a guy of the same age as her would be so arrogant that she would ask him to pour water for him? Hey too, this matter is not as simple as you think. No matter how many people you call, it's useless to deal with that young man just now. Although Wang Tu also wanted to seek revenge, he was the one who felt Tianyu's strength at the closest distance. Cold-blooded means in fearless character. Especially Tianyu's mysterious means just now, no matter how many people came. As long as they are of the same level, they will be killed by Tianyu like cutting melons and vegetables. Okay, hey too, let's put this matter aside for now. Since they all said they would help us, let's wait and see. Wang Tu now also believes Tianyu's words a little. After all, a person with such a strong strength, his team is an important team on the volunteer front. He can destroy himself so easily, and there is no need to go to great lengths to set up a plan and let them fall into the plan. When Heitu saw his father like this, he knew that it would be useless to say more, so he could only sigh and walk out of the command center. At this time, Tianyu had returned to the tent. Because Tianyu had been away for such a long time and had not returned, Namake's Minato had already been alert. When he saw Tianyu appear in the room, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. "You're finally back. I thought something happened." "Haha, what could happen? In this military camp, even you can come and go freely, right?" Tianyu laughed and then lay on the bed. "And you don't have to wear a mask in the camp. I've had a friendly chat with the commander. We are now allies in the military camp. There's no need to hide anymore," Tianyu said, changing his clothes back to his white robe. After all, the clothes worn by these rock ninjas are too rough, which is simply torture. "Kind." Namake's Minato looked at Tianyu strangely. She didn't think Tianyu's methods could be so kind. Is it too kind to be able to kindly let the commander of a military camp accept other villages? Namake's Minato didn't expose this fact, and then changed into the vest of Konoha village's Jonin, and felt a little more comfortable. Because there were two girls in the room, Tianyu took everyone out of the tent. After waiting for more than half an hour, he thought the two girls should have packed up, so he went back. When everyone changed into their own clothes, they all chatted happily. Tianyu did not stop their behavior this time. After all, they were just a group of children. It was already remarkable that they could achieve this level in their first mission. So Tianyu did not say much. It would not be a bad thing to let them relax a little. "Adults of Konoha, our commander wants to see you." An Iwagakure walked in from outside at some point. After seeing Tianyu and others, he was stunned for a moment even though he knew it. He did not expect that 7 people ran in from outside, and none of them noticed it. This was really their dereliction of duty. "Okay, you go down first, we will rest for a few minutes and then go over." After Tianyu sent the Iwagakure away, he confirmed the precautions with everyone. "I tell you, Brother Minato and I won't help you later. It's up to you guys next. In the next battle, those who Brother Minato and I help will leave early. As for the top 2, they will be rewarded, and the bottom 2 will be punished. I hope all of you will work hard to complete this mission. Come on." After Tianyu finished speaking, he glanced at Minato Namake's. Minato Namake's also agreed with Tianyu's decision this time, so he nodded in agreement, and then led everyone out of the tent. Tianyu looked at the tent and checked that nothing was left behind, and then left with him. Sure enough, after they left, an Iwagakure came over and began to investigate what they left behind. If they left anything threatening to the Iwagakure, even if there was a huge disparity in strength, Huangtu would take his few soldiers and keep Tianyu. Even if he couldn't keep him, he had to keep the disciple that Tianyu mentioned, and discussed Tianyu before he would stop. Chapter 519 An Unprecedented Attempt. Unfortunately, after searching for a long time in the tent, the rock ninja did not find any clues. This also forced the rock ninja to go back. Tianyu and others had already arrived at the gate of the headquarters, and Huangtu was standing in front of the gate to greet them. "Ha ha ha, the 2 adults from Konoha can come to my military camp, which really makes our army shine." Huangtu originally thought that there was only one teacher Tianyu coming to the camp. Who knew that when he looked up, he saw the golden flashing Namake's Minato, who was extremely famous in the ninja world. How did 2 beings of this level come back? Whose mission was it? It seems that what he said was true. When Huangtu saw Namake's Minato, he was very convinced by Tianyu's words. After all, these 2 people of this level were here, and he had no way to change one even if he wanted to desperately. There was no need for these 2 people to come and lie to him. "Okay, don't talk nonsense with us, what do you want us to do?" Tianyu didn't come here to listen to this guy's nonsense, and said directly and unceremoniously. Huangtu was not angry, but just laughed, and then led everyone to the combat command room. Almost all the high-ranking officers of the military camp had come to the command room, even the officer who Zairuhan had obtained intelligence from was there. When he saw Zairuhan, he couldn't help showing a trace of embarrassment on his face. He was deceived by such a little kid. If this matter were to be spread out, even if she had a big face, she might not be able to face it. Fortunately, Zairuhan just smiled after seeing him, and then didn't say anything. This also made the captain feel relieved. Seeing that everyone had come to the command room, Huangtu nodded to the intelligence analyst in the front. Then he began to summarize the plan. "My lords, it is my honor to be your combat deployment this time." After the combat analyst was polite for a while, He began to focus all his attention on it. I hope we can carry out a unilateral raid from the top of this cliff this time. Because the environment under the cliff has become very narrow now, even if we all go down, there won't be many people who can really touch the third breakage. And we just need to attack from the top and tear this hole apart completely. The analyst said, slashing the strategic map in front of him furiously. The width of the valley also changed at this time. Look, this is the result I want, so that the combat power can be exerted as it should be. After hearing this plan, everyone couldn't help but nodded. Because everything the analyst said was very perfect, even very good. If it is really the same as what the analyst said, then this plan should be perfectly solved. And they still have 2 shadow-level shields on their side. As long as the strength of the third breakage is not improved to an unimaginable level, he will have no chance of escaping. What do you think, adults of Konoha village? Wang Tu said, looking towards Tianyu with a looming look in his eyes. It can be seen from the looks of these people that Tianyu is the actual controller. I said, I will not interfere with this mission, let these brats do it. Tianyu did not answer Wang Tu's words, his eyes directly looked at the children beside him. Even Namokaze Minato did not express anything about this mission, and he also looked at his classmates. What? Wang Tu couldn't help showing an incredible expression. Originally, all the villages knew about this habit of Konoha, and even many villages have begun to learn it. Some newly graduated ninja apprentices will also be assigned to some senior ninjas. In this way, after taking them to perform tasks, they can also get a better understanding, and they can just face emergencies next. But there is no village that has given a task to their students, right? That adult, you also know that this mission is really a matter of great importance, so just do it as you please. Wang Tu's words were very clear, meaning that these children did not have the ability to make decisions. It's better for you 2 teachers to come over and say a few words. But Tianyu didn't buy their words at all, and looked at Wang Tu with cold eyes. I won't say what I said for the 3rd time. Do you want me to repeat it again? We will take action at the critical moment. You don't need to care anymore. Tianyu's cold voice chilled everyone to the bone. Everyone trembled and looked at Tianyu on the side. They couldn't imagine that this expressionless boy had such a strong murderous aura. I know. If I offended you just now, please forgive me. Wang Tu finally had to compromise and left his seat to the battle deployment. Since everyone has decided, I will start to distribute the tasks. Yan Qi, you bring half of the troops to the main battlefield on the cliff. You don't need to pay any price. You just need to let the Raikage see that you have volunteered. Yes. The captain, who was confused by Yuhikirni, stood up quickly, and after receiving the order, he came to the side. Then Wang Tu looked at the Konoha village team on the side. The Konoha village team is responsible for following the sneak attack team and making a feint attack this time. At this point, Wang Tu couldn't help but look at Tianyu on the side. I was afraid that the task I arranged was too difficult and would make Tianyu, a moody weirdo, angry. Fortunately, Tianyu didn't say anything after hearing this, and closed his eyes slightly. This was meaningless to Wang Tu. He knew that Tianyu had acquiesced, so he didn't say anything. That meant that he was very satisfied with the task he arranged for the Konoha village team. Even Namokaze Minato was very satisfied after hearing this task. A plant that is safe and dangerous, plus the strength that matches their students. For Wang Tu's strategy, it is already very remarkable. So Namokaze Minato didn't get angry, and looked at Tianyu beside him with a little excitement. Maybe if Tianyu wasn't here this time, their team would make a mistake. Even if they found a mistake in time and wanted to make up for it, they would not be able to get the help of the Rock Ninja. They would even be caught between the Rock Ninja and the Cloud Ninja, and become a thorn in the eyes of both sides. Okay, if there is nothing else, let's adjourn the meeting. I hope everyone will succeed. Wang Tu stood up and bowed to thank everyone. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 520, Abnormal Talent. After everyone returned the greeting to Wang Tu, they all left the room. Only those who stayed in Konoha were still looking at Wang Tu standing there. What? Do you two have anything else to say? If so, what is it? Wang Tu was a man who knew how to behave. He knew that he had no chance of fighting back, so he simply stopped fighting. Anyway, these guys were all his own people, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Haha, it's not a big deal. I just want to thank Commander Wang Tu for his actions. Then we'll take our leave first and won't disturb your interest. Tianyu laughed loudly, and then he led everyone out of the command room. Wang Tu was left alone with a bitter smile. Could it be that the other party was really so easy to talk to? After all, the murderous aura that he felt just now from Tianyu explained everything. Alice, I don't want to think about it. Anyway, I'm already here, so I can only let it go. Wang Tu no longer thought about Tianyu's true strength. After a sigh of relief, he stopped talking. Tianyu on the other side also smiled. The reason why he stayed just now was to scare Wang Tu. After all, this guy's scheming is not what he looks like on the outside. If he really has no scheming, he can't control so much military power in his hands with his identity as a descendant of Tsuchikage. Tianyu smiled, and then took everyone back to the tent. It's finally time to start, but I don't know what changes have taken place in the village since I left for so long. After all, Sarutobi Hirozen is in the village, and some things have already begun to be prepared. So maybe there will be a lot of changes there after I left for so long. Tianyu also felt a little anxious. I'll go back in 2 days. Anyway, there's Minato Namikaze watching here, so nothing should happen. Then Tianyu collected his thoughts and looked at Might Guy, who is exercising on the side. Kai, it seems that you haven't done high-intensity training for a long time. Hearing Tianyu calling him, Kai quickly stopped what he was doing and looked at Tianyu with a strange look on his face. Master, I use weights for training every day, and the training results are not much less than in the village. When he said this, Might Guy couldn't help showing a proud smile on his face. After all, it is very difficult for Might Guy to maintain the inconvenience of training level for so many days. Even Tianyu was stunned for a moment, because he had been paying attention to the battlefield over there these 2 days, so he rarely saw Might Guy. I thought Might Guy was just training with push-ups in the tent. I didn't expect that this guy's training intensity didn't change. He is really a training maniac. Even I may not be able to maintain such perfection, right? Tianyu couldn't help but complain in his heart, and then he stopped talking and stared at Might Guy for a long time. Seeing that the master was looking at him, Might Guy could only look at Tianyu silently. Because every time Tianyu looked at him like this, there would be some strange way of guidance. These methods should be useless in Might Guy's eyes. Even other people saw Tianyu's training method of hurting the enemy by 1,000 and hurting himself by 800, and there would be people who were dissatisfied and stood up. Unfortunately, the training method designed by Tianyu is so popular that it has even shown a clear growth trend. Take Might Guy for example. Although his physical strength was already very impressive when he graduated from school, he should have reached the level of a Jinan. But what does this mean? A Jinan is innumerable in the village, and even a little redundant. In addition, he is a conjoined ninja, which makes him even more useless. But now Might Guy is different. His strength is close to that of a Jonin. His muscles have improved significantly. And Might Guy didn't find any damage on his body at all. In other words, the training method designed by Tianyu is not harmful to the body at all. Very good, you haven't weakened your training method recently. Let me see how much weight you can bear. Tianyu smiled, and then asked Kai to show the results of the special training in recent days. See if he has met his expectations. Sure enough, after Tianyu finished speaking, Kai quickly took off his clothes. There were 4 sandbags on his legs, and iron blocks or sandbags of different sizes on his hands and waist. Not bad, keep working hard, and continue your training. Tianyu turned around and left, with no expression on his face, which also hit Might Guy's heart very hard. He thought that after so much progress, Tianyu would at least praise himself, right? Who knew that the teacher would leave with such a blank expression? Damn, it's really a monster. I thought the task that could not be completed was doubled so easily. When Tianyu left, the calm expression on his face completely disappeared. What is this? When I saw Might Guy's powerful fighting power, I thought it should not be difficult to train physical skills. But when I got started with it, I found that it was simply a punishment, not training at all. And even my own progress was not so fast, okay? Tianyu couldn't help but cursed. Sure enough, this world is biased towards geniuses. He said that a kick that can kick out 8 gates is not just a simple opening of 8 gates. It also requires a strong talent. After Tianyu calmed down his heart, he made up his mind. You must not let Might Guy know how powerful his talent is. After all, his self-esteem is here. If this guy knew that he did not progress as fast as him, wouldn't his master's dignity be reduced? Fortunately, Tianyu is still very good. Although his talent in physical skills is not much better than my guy, he has changed the 8 gates of ninjutsu. Let the power of the 8 gates of ninjutsu reach a higher level. Moreover, his ninja tools are 1 in a million. They are only faster than himself. What's the good? After Tianyu constantly comforted himself, he came to Yuhi-Kurenai's tent. After all, they are of the opposite sex. Although they are not very old, Tianyu still decided to apply for a tent for them. Huangdo naturally agreed without saying a word. Chapter 521 Changes. Hong, I have something to ask you. Is it convenient for me to go in now? When Tianyu was about to go in, he suddenly remembered that it would be a bit impolite to go in like this. So he stood in front of the tent and asked Huang if there was anything inconvenient. Sure enough, after hearing Tianyu's voice, the whole tent became restless. From the sound, it can be heard that someone is hurriedly cleaning up inside. Teacher, wait a minute, we have something to do. Yu Hong shouted from inside, and together with Naho Lin, they threw all the underwear and other things that they had not cleaned up into the closet. Then they hurriedly cleaned up the garbage on the ground and the shoes and socks scattered everywhere. 10 minutes passed, and Tianyu was getting a little impatient waiting outside. Hong, if it's not convenient for you now, I'll come back later, then I'll leave first. Tianyu turned around and was about to leave, but who knew that Hong suddenly ran out and pulled Tianyu's hand over. Who, master, wait for me to catch my breath. Ziri Hong half knelt, holding Tianyu's sleeve tightly with her hand, just not letting Tianyu leave. Well, let's clean up. No, we have nothing to do, please come in. Who knew that Ziri Hong talked for a long time, but Tianyu didn't respond, which made Ziri Hong feel something was wrong. She quickly raised her head and saw the teacher staring at her, with a look that must not understand. Teacher, what are you looking at? Oh, the scenery. No, the white wall is not right, and the big stone. Tianyu couldn't think of an adjective for a while, and an awkward smile appeared on his face. Hong, you should go in and change your clothes quickly, it doesn't seem good to be seen like this. Ziri Hong and Naho Lin, who had just come out, were stunned when they heard this, and the next moment they knew what it meant. The two seemed to be wearing pajamas. Originally, the pajamas of the two were relatively conservative. Who knew that today, I don't know what happened, it was very hot, plus the tent that Tianyu got for them. The two of them became bolder, so they changed into a color set of pajamas. Who knew Tianyu would come suddenly, and the two of them were very anxious, so they ran out without thinking. After the two screamed, they ran in. Tianyu also smiled helplessly, and then left. It would be more embarrassing for him to stay here. Anyway, he just came to see that Yuhi-Kurenai's strength has not declined due to slack training. Seeing that the two are so lively, let Kurenai have a good rest for a while. However, the physical development of these two children is really good. Yuhi-Kurenai's body proportions are not comparable to those of girls of the same age. In addition, Naho Lin's exquisite appearance also made Tianyu couldn't help but smile. But Tianyu thought about it and didn't think about it anymore. After all, he has a fiancée at home. He is not the kind of stud in novels who wants to take someone into his bag when he sees someone. Tianyu smiled, then disappeared from the spot and appeared next to Namoka's Minato, who was hiding in the dark. Meanwhile, in the tent, Kurenai's face had already turned red. As for Rin Nahara, she was a little better. After all, he had just gone out and ran away, so it was not a big problem. But Kurenai was not that simple, she ran away. In addition, Kurenai's habitual red also made her look very charming. Rin, do you think the master will hate me? I don't know why, but Kurenai's sudden words also scared Rin Nahara. How could he not see that Kurenai still had that special feeling for teacher Tianyu? That Hong, could it be that you? When she said this, Rin Nahara looked at Kurenai with a strange look on her face. What are you thinking about? I'm just afraid that when I train in the future, I will be shy when I see that bastard teacher. Kurenai also realized that the question she asked was a bit too much. She quickly beat up a gangster, and then started to play with Rin Nahara. At this time, Tianyu came to Minato Namokaze and saw that Minato Namokaze's face was calm. What's wrong? I didn't expect you to not care about your disciples. Tianyu smiled and looked in the direction that Minato Namikaze was looking at. At this time, Obito was actually dueling with Kakashi. It was obvious that Kakashi was much stronger than the two. But for some reason, Obito just didn't give up. He stood up and continued to fight after being knocked down once. This also made Kakashi a little impatient. Obito, Lin's decision is not something I can change, and your duel with me doesn't mean anything. Plus your current strength. Kakashi didn't need to say anything more at this point. You are too weak and don't deserve to be my opponent. This sentence is already very obvious, even Obito's brain has already thought of it. Obito's eyes changed at this time, and the appearance of the Sharingan also made Obito lose a little slower. Oh? Didn't expect Obito to have awakened. Minato Namikaze obviously didn't expect Obito to awaken at this age. But what was the opportunity? Lord Amerji, I think your approach is right. It's better for them to be bullied by their own people than to be bullied by other villages outside. I think this is indeed a good opportunity to train them, so I agree with your opinion. Namikaze Minato said as he activated Flying Thunder God to stop the two from fighting. You two should stop here. Go back and rest. There are important tasks to do tomorrow. And you, don't use your eyes carelessly. When you go back, ask your elders at home for advice. Namikaze Minato also vaguely knew the side effects of Uchiha eyes, so he reminded Obito specifically. But Obito still had an unwilling look on his face and wanted to continue fighting with Kakashi. Alright. A sound like thunder exploded in Obito's ears, causing him to step back 2 steps. I'm sorry, Minato-sensei, I'm rude. Obito also knew that Minato-sensei was on the verge of getting angry. If he dared to speak again, Minato-sensei would not suggest punishing him here. So he quickly apologized with a fist, and then returned to the tent. Namikaze Minato obviously didn't expect Obito to leave so quickly. This doesn't seem to be in line with Obito's personality these days, right? Chapter 522 Enforcement. What's the matter with this kid? Minato Namikaze felt Amerji behind him and couldn't help asking. Amerji smiled but didn't say anything, and looked meaningfully at Obito's back. Okay, we still have things to do tomorrow, don't waste time here, you and the children should rest together. Amerji smiled and then left the place, leaving Minato Namikaze alone in a daze. Alice, it's really a group of strange guys. Minato Namikaze had no choice but to smile helplessly and followed Obito back to the tent. Soon, an evening passed, and Amerji and Minato Namikaze also brought everyone to wait outside the military camp. Kai and Hong, you two remember, don't fight desperately, retreat quickly if there is danger. Amerji didn't teach the two people particularly harshly this time. After all, life is only once, and completing the mission is not completed in this way. Yes, teacher. The two nodded, and then stood quietly behind Amerji. You also heard what Mr. Amerji said, remember not to fight desperately. Minato Namikaze couldn't help but remind them. After all, these are still children, and they are young and energetic, so it is better to remind them. Everyone nodded, and then quietly waited for Wang Tu's arrangement. Wang Tu also came with people not far away. Tianyu nodded to Wang Tu, and then disappeared with Minato Namikaze. Wang Tu has been in a good mood since he knew that Tianyu said he would not help yesterday. After all, there are no outsiders to disturb him, so it doesn't matter if some people are brought in. You 5, follow the back of the team later, and don't get lost. Wang Tu glanced at the 5 people casually, and after giving an order, he didn't know what to do. As for the 5 people who wanted to ask their teachers what to do next. But Tianyu and the other 2 had already run away. If the 2 teachers wanted to hide, they would never find them even if they searched for a lifetime. Okay, stop looking. Next, it's a job. Listen to the commander's arrangement and go to the back of the team. Kakashi seemed to be quite experienced. He quickly found his state and then brought 4 people to the back of the team. Tianyu couldn't help but nod when he saw this scene. Very good, he remained calm in the face of danger. He is indeed a good genius. Even Minato Namikaze showed a proud smile on his face. Then the 2 of them followed them 100 meters behind them. As long as they were in danger, the 2 would rescue them immediately. At this time, in front of the team, Wang Tu was looking at the strategic map seriously, and Kurado hurriedly ran in from outside. Dad, I heard that you want to arrange a group with the guys from Konoha for me. I don't agree. Kurado originally came here to experience the situation, and he should just see how destructive this kind of mission is. Who knew that he was actually arranged into the attack group of the Konoha team? Okay, stop making trouble. Wang Tu didn't even raise his head and continued to look at the strategic map in his hand. Dad? He too wanted to say something, but Wang Tu's head had already been raised, looking at He too with some anger. He too, at home I am your father, you can do whatever you want. Don't forget, this is on the battlefield, I am your superior, military orders are like mountains, you can do whatever I want. Wang Tu said, took a breath, and then continued to look at the strategic map. When He too saw his father like this, tears rolled in his eyes. She glared at her father angrily, and then ran out. Wang Tu, who felt that his daughter had run away, also raised his head at this time and smiled helplessly. Originally, he brought He too here to let He too see the battlefield. But when he saw the teaching methods of the two teachers of Konoha, Wang Tu's eyes lit up. Since others can train, how can his own He too not be able to? Then Wang Tu arranged a task for He too overnight, which led to today's scene. Unfortunately, Wang Tu probably didn't expect that the 5 people from Konoha were escorted by 2 cage-level units. Even if there was danger, it would not be life-threatening. As for Kurado, the situation was completely different. Wang Tu would definitely be commanding the battle at the front line, and he had no time to pay attention to what happened to Kurado. In other words, this really became an experience for Kurado. An experience where one careless mistake might cost him his life. I hope you can grow up. Wang Tu stared at the door for a long time before he felt relieved and continued to analyze whether there was anything wrong with this mission. Dad, this bastard is such a big bastard. Kurado cursed as he walked, and the anger on his face increased instead of decreasing. He even cursed when he saw someone looking at him. And this well-known young lady in the military camp, naturally no one dared to mess with her, and they all left Kurado's sight embarrassedly. Finally, after a long time, Kurado also came to the end of the team, and the Konoha team was sorting out their equipment. I don't know when it started, but everyone's focus has been on Kakashi and Kurenai. One of them is full of rich experience. The other has an extremely sensitive brain. Everyone will look at them first when they have something to do. Hello, Kuratsuchi, I'm here to do the mission with you. Kuratsuchi greeted them, and then ignored them and found a hidden place to follow behind. What's wrong with this person? Obito glanced at Kuratsuchi, but was returned an angry look by Kuratsuchi. This also made everyone look at Kuratsuchi curiously, not understanding why this girl was so angry when she came here. Oh? Kuratsuchi is here, Obito really spent a lot of money. Tianyu couldn't help but smile when he saw Kuratsuchi. The first thing he thought of was not that Kuratsuchi wanted to gain experience, but that Obito was afraid that they would misunderstand. So he specially arranged his daughter to this team to ensure the safety of this team. Wang Tu seems to be really frightened by you, already like this. Namake's Minato couldn't help crying and laughing, especially when he saw Kurado's depressed face. He misunderstood even more. Let's protect this girl later, don't let her get hurt. Tianyu thought about it, and finally couldn't help but give an order. Chapter 523 A Weird Way to Die. Can it be done? After hearing this, the smile on Minato Namake's face disappeared. After all, this is not a small matter. Minato Namikaze did not dare to guarantee that he could protect these students with full concentration. Of course, since they have given us such a big gift, we can't fall behind. Tianyu smiled, and then a shadow clone appeared behind him and stayed behind Kuratsuchi. How could I forget about this? When Minato saw Tianyu's shadow clone, he remembered that Tianyu's ninjutsu is not simple. Do I still have to worry about such a small matter? Nothing strange happened along the way. Kuratsuchi also seemed extremely quiet. Only when it was time to eat, would he eat with these Konoha friends. The rest of the time, they stood far away, as if they had a virus. In this way, the team came to the cliff where Tianyu came at the beginning without any setbacks. Huangtu also appeared in front of everyone. Everyone, now is the time for our mission to be important. I also hope that everyone in Konoha can use their greatest strength. Of course. Kakashi answered, and then quietly listened to what Wang Tu had to say. Wang Tu looked at Hitu in the distance who didn't want to look at him at all, and then continued to speak. After that, we will go down in teams. Due to special reasons, we can only use ropes. Wang Tu said while taking out a rope from his backpack. What? Commander, are you kidding? It's too dangerous to use ropes on such a high cliff. Boss, otherwise we should use ninjutsu, so that brothers can also rest assured. Because of Wang Tu's words, the entire Rock Ninja team is now in chaos. Originally, they thought that they seemed to use ninjutsu to build a staircase on the cliff. Who knew that this time they actually used the primitive climbing method directly? Isn't this asking for the lives of those who haven't exercised for so many years? Enough. What do I mean? Are you the commander or am I? I'll take the lead, and you guys go get the ropes. Wang Tu said, tying one end of the rope to a tree not far away. After confirming that it was firm, he jumped off the cliff. Commander. Dad. Lord Wang Tu. Everyone rushed up and looked at Wang Tu, who had already jumped down in surprise. They didn't expect that in order to let them go down, Lord Wang Tu would actually risk his life and jump down directly. I don't care, you guys can just be cowards here, I'm going down. And Iwagakure was also moved, and then he took a rope and jumped down alone. With one person taking the lead, the next thing was much easier, and one person after another jumped down. And Tianyu, who was hiding in the dark, couldn't help but nodded. There are still some brave Iwagakure ninjas, not bad. I thought they were all useless. Haha, what are you talking about, Lord Aimkun? After all, they are one of the 5 major villages, right? Minato Namikaze was speechless when he heard Aimkun's words, not knowing how to respond. Perhaps only Aimkun could say such a thing, and still make him feel that there was no sense of disobedience, right? Let's go. Aimkun said, and was about to activate Flying Thunder God and disappear on the spot, but Minato Namikaze grabbed his shoulder. Where are we going? Minato Namikaze's question also made Aimkun feel overwhelmed. How come this guy is sometimes smart, but sometimes a little stupid? Of course we have to get to the bottom of the valley first. Do you want to climb the rope? Aimkun couldn't help but roll his eyes, and then activated Flying Thunder God and disappeared on the spot. Minato Namikaze scratched his head helplessly, and then activated Flying Thunder God and left with Aimkun. At this time, Kuratsuchi didn't know why, but he felt much stronger. He was originally not interested in anything, but now he took the initiative to pick up the rope and planned to go to the bottom of the valley with the people of Konoha. Is there something wrong with this girl's brain? Why is she doing this and that? Obito could only complain quietly about Kuratsuchi's change. Not only Kuratsuchi, but everyone else looked at Kuratsuchi in surprise. Kuratsuchi looked like he was not going to go down. He just sat there when he got here and didn't react at all. Who knew that he suddenly changed his mind and wanted to go down on his own initiative? In fact, Kuratsuchi did not want to go down when he got here. But when he saw his father jump down without hesitation, he didn't know what was touched in his heart. Then his heart became firm and he jumped down without hesitation. With the commander's family and Konoha taking the lead, no one hesitated anymore. Damn it, a few children in his own head jumped down without fear of danger, so what are they afraid of here? Then the whole sneak attack team took 10 minutes, and 5,000 people were hung on the rope in an orderly manner. Ouch, another one fell down. Tianyu and Namikaze Minato were also very helpless when they saw the rock ninja falling from the sky. It seems that this method is not very safe. It's already the 15th one, and you can't even see his appearance after falling down. It's so miserable. Sir Tianyu, are we really not going to help? Namikaze Minato couldn't stand it anymore. He had already stood up and wanted to save people, but was pulled by Tianyu. Sir Tianyu. Namikaze Minato was also a little angry. Could it be that this young man in front of him would abandon the lives one by one? Well, do you think I don't want to? Do you think Huangtu can't save people? Take a good look at the fallen rope and the common characteristics of these rock ninjas. Tianyu smiled bitterly, and then told Namikaze Minato what he found. Namikaze Minato was stunned for a moment, and then followed Tianyu's words and hurried to the front of these corpses. Sure enough, just as Tianyu said, there was something wrong with these ropes. The ends of the ropes were not traces of normal breaks, but perfect cross-sections. Namikaze Minato was still a little bit unconvinced, and even found a lot of ropes, but unfortunately the traces on them were so consistent. Then Namikaze Minato hurried to the side of the corpse, although he couldn't see the face. However, their positions were generally very low, and the chakra or emitted from their bodies was also very low. Chapter 524 Cruel War. Lord Tianyu, could it be? Although Minato Namikaze had already vaguely felt something at this time, he was still unwilling to accept it in his heart. Tianyu couldn't help shaking his head when he saw Minato Namikaze's appearance. Although Minato Namikaze had participated in many battles, it seemed that he was still lacking. After all, Battles without thorns are one-sided crushing. Even if he is defeated, Konoha will not arrange any strong enemies for him. This also led to the fact that even if he had participated in the battle, he could not imagine the cruelty of the war at all. There should be nothing wrong with what you think in your heart. They are the abandoned children of the rock ninja. Their death will play a big role in this war. Tianyu didn't think much about it at all, and felt that Huangtu did nothing wrong in this matter. Only the death of teammates can arouse their own bloodiness. In addition, everyone's subconscious mind believes that if it weren't for this mission, their good friends would not die. As a result, the main task of this incident, the third generation Raikage, hated it to the bone, so that the team could arouse a stronger fighting power. It was a great idea to sacrifice an old, weak, sick and disabled person, and then improve the overall combat effectiveness. Even Tianyu admired it very much. Although Tianyu felt sorry for these people, war was cruel. Don't say that sacrifices must be avoided in a battle. Tianyu can tell these people with brain problems that these things are impossible. Don't think that things are so simple, really thinking that as long as you're careful in participating in the battle, you will survive. As long as there is war, there will be sacrifices. If a small number of people are exchanged for the lives of most people, Tianyu thinks this is still a good thing. Namikaze Minato stood beside the corpse for a long time, and then he could only come to Tianyu's side indifferently. Although he was also very helpless, he also understood Huangtu's painstaking efforts. The third generation Raikage, even if it is the current combat power in Konoha village, wants to find a winner. Maybe there is no one, unless they join forces to fight, they can kill this unsolvable monster. Soon, while the two were chatting, Huangtu, who was the first to come down, finally came down. When he saw the corpses of his men on the ground, his eyes also showed grief and anger. This expression can't be faked, so Tianyu's impression of Huangtu has become even better. Commander Huangtu, you are so calculating and scheming, you are indeed a fighter. Tianyu said while clapping his hands. What do you mean? I don't understand. When Huangtu heard what Tianyu said, his face changed. How could they see this accident? But Tianyu didn't take it seriously at all and went directly to corpse. Okay, I won't talk nonsense, I just can't help but sigh. But Commander Huangtu, I still think you should do it more cleanly in the future. After all, this kind of method will be seen by someone after a long time. Tianyu said while putting the rope on the ground in front of Huangtu. Huangtu also saw the neat cross-section on the rope at this time, and couldn't help but feel cold in his heart. Fortunately, this matter was discovered by Tianyu, and he did not participate in any of this mission. If the rope was found to be abnormal by his surviving men, then this battle has not yet begun. Maybe he will not be able to control the morale of the army? Thank you, Mr. Tianyu. Huangtu bowed to Tianyu and thanked him, then hurried to each corpse and said sorry. Then he tore the ends of all the ropes to create a breaking effect. Tianyu saw that everything was done, so he didn't stay for long and disappeared into the hidden place again. When Huangtu completed the last action, his men finally fell slowly from the sky. All the soldiers showed sad and angry expressions on their faces when they saw their former brothers fall to death. Everyone's combat effectiveness was obviously improved to a higher level. This also made Huangtu feel relieved. It seemed that the strategy that he had worked so hard to complete was a fluke success. When everyone came down, everyone couldn't be divided into different routes, and a team of 6 people set off. At this time, the Konoha team and Kuratsuchi set off to the depths of the valley. Tianyu and the other 2 followed behind, and they had already explored all the dangers around them. If Kakashi and the others were ambushed by some assassins who were ambushing in secret, Namikaze Minato would be the first to rescue them. Kakashi, where are we going next? Yuhikirani came to Kakashi and handed him a map. The commander just gave me this map. We just need to follow the route on the map. Kakashi took a look at the map, confirmed that there was no problem, nodded to everyone, and then set off. Be careful. I don't know what happened. A bear suddenly appeared behind Kuratsuchi. And the person who shouted was Might Guy. Might Guy felt that it was too quiet next to him. Normally when he was training outside, it was not like this in the wild. There was only one possibility that there would be no small animals here. And when he saw the bear in front of him, he confirmed his guess. Sure enough, this is the territory of a wild beast, otherwise the small animals would not give up this forest full of fruits. Thank you. Kuratsuchi was also very grateful. If it weren't for its existence, he might have fallen into the bear's mouth without paying attention. You are also my teammate, it should be. Might Guy didn't notice Kuratsuchi's grateful expression at all, replied casually, and then came to the bear. Wait for a while, I'll take care of this big guy. Be careful, if you can't beat him, call us. After Yuhikirunai gave some instructions to Might Guy, she led everyone to keep a safe distance. Has your apprentice always been like this? Minato Namikaze was also shocked when he saw Might Guy's straight look. Haha, how would I know? Don't let him call me master when we go out in the future. Shianyu's face also became very ugly. People have already spoken to you like that, will you die if you speak nicely? Isn't this cold look a complete rejection of people entering your heart? No wonder even though this guy Kai has been with me for such a long time, I haven't heard that he has a girlfriend. Shianyu couldn't help but mutter in his heart at this time. Chapter 525, Man's Pain. While the two were joking around, Might Guy had already been fighting with a bear. Everyone thought that Might Guy would circle with the bear and then find its weakness. Finally, he would deliver a fatal blow. Who knew that when Might Guy saw that Kuratsuchi had left, he also took off all the sandbags on his body. Boom. Then, dust dozens of meters high was stirred up on Might Guy's body. How much weight did your apprentice add? Namikaze Minato opened his mouth a little without caring about his image. Originally, he had only vaguely heard that Might Guy, this little guy, should have a heavy weight on him. But for her, 100 or 200 pounds is just a drizzle, not a big problem. Even for a child of Might Guy's age, if he practices physical skills, this level is not bad. After all, he is also Shianyu's apprentice, he can't be a fool, right? But if it comes to this, it's not as simple as who is the apprentice. Even the other people widened their eyes. They didn't expect that the boy who seemed silly and even a little stupid had so much weight on his body. Haha, cool. I haven't felt so comfortable in a long time. Might Guy laughed a few times on the spot, and then rushed towards the bear. Roar. The bear seemed to feel that someone was provoking him, and shouted on the spot. Then he rushed towards Might Guy. The palms of the man and the bear touched each other instantly, but they separated as soon as they touched. The strong inertia pulled them far away. So strong. Might Guy originally thought that with his current fighting power, it should not be difficult to deal with a bear. But at this time, the bear was even more shocked. After all, he was the bear king within 100 miles. At the beginning, because he was invincible, all the bears nearby couldn't beat him, so he hid in this valley. I didn't expect that today I would tie with a human. When did humans have such strong fighting power? The bear could not help but roar, and then continued to rush towards Might Guy with his brute force. Might Guy also knew that if he fought head-on, he would not be able to beat this bear. Then he quickly dodged his attack, and 2 nunchakus appeared in his hands. Hey, I haven't seen Kai use weapons for a long time. I didn't expect that he would use this thing when he was a child. Shianyu was also very emotional. He didn't know how long he hadn't seen this weapon. In his memory, when fighting against Obito, Kai's nunchaku was perfect. I don't know what level he has reached now. Hu. At this time, the nunchakus in Might Guy's hands were like a child, allowing Might Guy to control them. No matter how Might Guy swung, he couldn't touch himself. Come on, little bear, let me see how strong you are. Might Guy said as he came behind the bear at his fastest speed. At this time, he was emitting the same green gas as Shianyu. 8 gates of Dunjiaduman. Shianyu's eyes narrowed. This guy Kai has really been hiding things from me for a long time. He didn't tell me such an important thing. I don't seem to have found any breath of the 8 gates of Dunjia on Might Guy, right? This little guy, why did you hide this from me? Shianyu also showed a complaining expression on his face. Why would his apprentice hide his strength? In fact, this can't be blamed on Might Guy. Might Guy originally wanted to give Shianyu a surprise at the end of this mission. Who knew that just after the mission started, he encountered an opponent who had to use the 8 gates of Dunjia. This also made Might Guy very helpless. Snap! Might Guy kicked the bear's head, but who knew that the bear's head didn't move at all. Snap! At this moment, a slight crack sounded on Might Guy's body, which made Shianyu smile helplessly. Even if Might Guy has practiced the 8 gates of Dunjia, why is his body function still so fragile? Just one kick from Duman, and there was a slight bone fracture in his leg. It seems that Might Guy still needs to train his body for a while before he can use the 8 gates. Hiss. Might Guy couldn't help but take a breath. It was all because of the physical damage, but now he was suffering from bone fractures. Under normal circumstances, bone fractures are commonplace for Might Guy. But after activating the 8 gates, he felt that the pain was stimulated countless times. Because one part was injured, he felt that his whole body was in pain. No, I must get the approval of my master. I can't practice for such a long time and can't even beat a bear. Might Guy used his strong willpower to support his body. At this time, when Might Guy was stunned, the Bear King had already come to Might Guy and slapped Might Guy away with a bear claw. Kai? Are you looking for death? Kakashi and Yuhikirani saw that Kai was slapped away, and their faces were furious. They had already taken out their weapons to kill the Bear King. Wait a minute, I haven't lost yet. Might Guy's voice came out from the dust, and he slowly climbed out of the ruins. Tianyu was going to go out to rescue people, but after seeing Kai's appearance, he decided to wait a little longer. Kai, come back, this bear's fighting power seems to be extraordinary, let's join forces. No, I must kill it alone, wait for me to treat you to bear paws. After Kai finished speaking, he quickly adjusted his breathing and restored his condition to the best. Roar. At this time, the Bear King roared. This human climbed up again and again. Doesn't he have any face? While roaring, the Bear King rushed towards Might Guy again. At this time, everyone took out their weapons, ready to rescue Might Guy at any time. Even Tianyu lost his original lazy look, and the ice ring pill in his hand was ready. After seeing the ice ring pill in Tianyu's hand, Minato Namake's eyes widened slightly. He felt a fatal breath on the body of this knife. Fortunately, I didn't act rashly at the beginning, otherwise I would become the innocent soul under this knife, which would be not fun. Might Guy saw the Bear King coming, and he didn't retreat but advanced, gathering all his strength to his toes. Crack! With a crisp sound, Might Guy's foot had kicked between the two legs of the Bear King. Roar! The Bear King couldn't bear the piercing pain at this time, and fell to the ground and howled. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.